Chapter 28. The rest of the green mane wind stepping foals rushed to the side of the Horse King, opening their mouths to form wind blades. Lin Yuan spat out the snake's forked tongue, and his pair of cold vertical pupils flashed with a dangerous chill. Forming wind blades with their mouths? I've been waiting for you to do this. Do you not know how long the prelude to my skill is? Under Lin Yuan's control, the water arrow, which was not slow to begin with, instantly accelerated and pierced into their mouths. The two different forces of water and wind mixed together, creating a small explosion. Bing! Congratulations to host for killing level 5 demonic beast green mane wind stepping foal. Gain 0. 5 attribute points. Ding! Congratulations to host for killing level 5 demonic beast green mane wind stepping foal. Gain 0. 1 attribute points. A series of system notifications exploded in his ears. Lin Yuan's heart did not waver, because the Horse King, which was also hit by the explosion of the two elements, did not die. At this moment, the Horse King appeared to be in a very miserable state. The flesh and blood around its mouth had been blown away, revealing its eerie white bones that looked extremely horrifying. Its sharp teeth were enough to make even top-grade carnivorous beasts blush with shame. Under the illumination of the sun, the Horse King glinted with a cold light. There was pain in its eyes, but there was even more anger and hatred. The Horse King, which had just survived the explosion, had actually successfully stepped into the ranks of level 6 demonic beasts. Its intelligence had once again increased by another level. So it was very clear that Lin Yuan had slowed down the speed of the water arrow in order to wait for them to form wind blades, so that he could give them a fatal blow at the smallest cost. Activating Special Mission. Trapped Beast Struggle. Mission Requirement. Survive for 3 minutes under the Horse King's life-for-life attack. Mission Reward: none. Failure punishment: death. If Lin Yuan had hands now, he would definitely point a middle finger at the system. Although the previous series of missions had almost killed him, the rewards were still quite good. However, this special mission was completely the system's bad taste. It was purely to remind the Horse King that he had to fight with his life on the line. Demonic beast berserk, whether it was in the novels of his previous life or in his recent experience, this term was not unfamiliar to Lin Yuan. A berserk demonic beast would lose its rationality for a short period of time. It would crazily attack its enemy without caring about how the enemy would retaliate. Even if it could not do so at the cost of its life, it would still want to bite off a piece of flesh from the enemy before it died. The Horse King's berserk duration was 3 minutes, and the strength increase brought about by berserk was still unknown. However, if the berserk demonic beasts that Lin Yuan had seen so far were to be digitized by the system, they would at least have a buff of +2 to all attributes. In other words, this Horse King, which was a level 6 demonic beast, in these 3 minutes berserk time, it would have the same strength as Lin Yuan, or even be a bit stronger than him. Host: Lin status: Big Black can evolve realm. 6 out of 10 talent. 1. Identify enemy as 2. Forming an accurate image of a 500-meter radius around the body based on the odor of water speed. 7+2 defense. 7+2 attack. Attack points. 6 martial arts. Golden body technique skills. 1. Strangulation poison. Enhance 3. Tail attack item. Light feather. Glancing at his own attribute points, Lin Yuan's heart ached. Killing Lin Xiang gave him 0. 5 attribute points. Completing the Greedy Heart mission gave him 3 attribute points. Killing 6 green mane wind stepping foals gave him a total of 3. 5 attribute points. There were still 2 foals with 0 and 1 attribute points, but the system could only store 6 attribute points. Rounding it up, he seemed to have lost 100 million. Gritting his teeth, he distributed the attribute points. His speed and attack both soared to 9 points, and his defense to 8 points. Looking at the system interface, after including the bonus, his attributes had broken through 2 digits, and the remaining 1 attribute point. Lin Yuan did not know whether to laugh or cry. Suddenly, a gust of wind blew in his face. Lin Yuan subconsciously swung his snake head. From the corner of his eyes, he saw a green shadow flash by. The Horse King, which was originally standing on the shore, had already disappeared without a trace. Too much. Lin Yuan silently cursed. His 11 points of speed attribute was only enough to allow him to dodge in the nick of time. When the Horse King went berserk, it was like a god with a cheat code. It was definitely not as simple as +2 to all attributes. But looking at the Horse King standing on the water, Lin Yuan's cold vertical pupils suddenly flashed with a cold light. If their battle was on the ground, perhaps he would really be beaten by the Horse King until he covered his head and ran away like a rat for a full 3 minutes. But the Horse King, who had lost its mind, actually took the initiative to give up its advantage on the ground and change the battlefield to this lake, which was extremely advantageous to it. The snake tail once again slapped the water surface. Lin Yuan jumped into the air, turning into a black shadow and biting towards the Horse King's neck. The Horse King did not dodge. It stood up like a human and raised its 2 front hooves to kick towards Lin Yuan. Tail strike. Lin Yuan launched his skill again. His figure quickly adjusted, and he became a little taller in a strange posture. His snake tail, which was as thick as a bowl, hit the Horse King's face, which had lost most of its flesh and blood. Pa! A crisp sound rang out. The Horse King staggered from being hit by Lin Yuan's snake tail. Several of its sharp teeth were broken. But it quickly adjusted its posture and opened its mouth to bite Lin Yuan's snake tail. But Lin Yuan, who had succeeded in one strike, had already dived into the water. He did not have any intention of easily coming out. Although the Horse King could stand on the water, it was unable to enter the water to fight. It frantically ran back and forth on the lake's surface. Green wind blades were spat out from its mouth, indiscriminately bombarding the water. This level of attack naturally could not catch the nimble Lin Yuan in the water. But the small fishes and shrimps in the lake suffered an unexpected calamity. Their weak bodies were directly torn apart by the wind blades, exploding into a bloody mist. In an instant, a large part of the lake was dyed red with blood. "You're so cold." Snakes did not have sweat glands. Otherwise, the current Lin Yuan would have already been scared to the point of breaking out in a cold sweat. In this forest where demonic beasts ran rampant, what did the thick smell of blood mean? It meant that in a short period of time, countless ferocious predators would gather in this area, which was emitting a thick smell of blood. At that time, what he had to face in this lair would not only be the 3 waves of demonic beasts arranged by the system. Instead, it would be the attacks of all the ferocious predators in the vicinity of this lake. Lin Yuan steeled his heart. Twisting his snake body underwater, he quickly approached the raging Horse King. At the same time, he used his innate skill to control water to calm the lake water, which was filled with bloody mist. He did his best to prevent the smell of blood from spreading. Chapter 29. Closer, closer. Lin Yuan was like a top-notch assassin, silently swimming in the water and getting closer to the Horse King. Even if the Horse King had lost its mind, it still didn't want to go into the water. It only used this method to attack Lin Yuan, who was hiding in the water. Lin Yuan, who was far more intelligent than these demonic beasts, naturally knew what it meant to play to one's strengths and avoid one's weaknesses. "If you don't want to go into the water, then I'll drag you into the water." The snake's body, which was more than 6 feet long, curled up into a ball and swam under the Horse King. Finding the moment when the Horse King turned around, Lin Yuan suddenly jumped out from the water. The pitch-black snake coiled around the Horse King's body. At the same time, he activated his water manipulation inherent skill and slowly sank to the bottom of the water. Under Lin Yuan's coiling, the Horse King was still struggling violently. The terrifying force caused Lin Yuan's body to hurt, as if he could be torn apart by the Horse King at any time. Strangle. Because of the pain, Lin Yuan didn't hold back anymore. The system's skills were released crazily, and the coiling body of the Horse King kept shrinking. Crunch, crunch. The teeth-numbing sound was especially eerie in the quiet water. This was because the Horse King's attributes were extremely high. If it was a normal level 6 demonic beast, after being hit by Lin Yuan's tail and strangle, it would have long been turned into a pile of rotten meat. But as the two of them sank deeper and deeper, the Horse King's struggling became weaker and weaker. Crack. A light sound was heard. The Horse King's bones were finally completely crushed by Lin Yuan. Ding. Congratulations to host for killing level 6 demonic beast Windstrider Horse King. Reward: 1. 5 attribute points. Ding. Congratulations to host for killing a demonic beast of the same level for the first time. Reward: 1 skill draw chance. Ding. Congratulations to host for killing the Horse King in its berserk state. Completing the special mission Unquenchable Hatred. Reward: 1 attribute point. Following the Horse King's death, 3 consecutive system notifications sounded. Lin Yuan just lazily coiled up at the bottom of the lake. The snake's body was still coiled around the Horse King's body. He was tired, so tired that he didn't want to move at all. The system rewarded him with 1 attribute point for completing the Unextinguishable Hatred quest. In his opinion, it was like watching a circus clown perform, and after seeing the clown cry, the audience happily gave the clown a tip. Ding. It has been detected that a level 6 demonic beast is rapidly approaching. Host should escape as soon as possible. Ding. A class 5 demonic beast has been detected and is rapidly approaching. Host should escape as soon as possible. Ding. A class 5 demonic beast has been detected and is rapidly approaching. Host should escape as soon as possible. The system notifications kept ringing. Lin Yuan lazily raised his eyelids. Strangling the Horse King was too taxing on his mind. He even forgot to continue suppressing the blood mist in the water, allowing the smell of blood to drift out, which attracted the nearby demonic beasts to gather. Now that he had just set up his lair, he had directly encircled a territory of 500 miles. Normally, those demonic beasts wouldn't dare to provoke Lin Yuan when he was at his peak. But at this moment, Lin Yuan was heavily injured and mentally and physically exhausted. Once those demonic beasts found Lin Yuan hiding in the water, they definitely wouldn't let him leave alive. Lin Yuan suddenly felt that the system was like a Russian matryoshka doll, one pit after another. Ding. It has been detected that a level 7 demonic beast has been detected and is rapidly approaching. Host should escape as soon as possible. Ding. It has been detected that a level 6 demonic beast has been detected and is rapidly approaching. Host should escape as soon as possible. Previously, when the demonic beast appeared, the system notification made Lin Yuan, who was hiding in the water, tremble a little. But at least it was still within his expectations. But in this forest where demonic beasts ran rampant, 2 people had suddenly appeared out of nowhere. This made him have no choice but to think carefully. 2 level 7 and level 6 humans, appearing in this area where level 5 and level 6 demonic beasts ran rampant wasn't too surprising. After all, many humans called themselves demon slayers, and specialized in hunting and killing demonic beasts. Demonic beasts without spirituality would be killed on the spot and dismembered on the spot. Apart from the most valuable Yao core, the rest of the body parts such as the meat and skin, would also be taken away by them. But the demon slayers who begged for food in the forest would never go near places like lakes. Regardless of whether they were demonic beasts or wild beasts, as long as they wanted to survive, they had to drink water. Therefore, extremely powerful demonic beasts usually lived near water sources. For example, the area Lin Yuan had chosen should be the largest water source in the area. Occasionally, level 7 and 8 demonic beasts would wander over to drink water, and then hold down a few ignorant low-level demonic beasts to exchange for food. Only after the sun had set would they be satisfied and walk deeper into the forest. Lin Yuan had no choice but to move. Sticking to the mud in the water, he slowly approached the 2 humans who had just arrived. The young miss is too much. She just had to say that the black snake had spirituality. Not only did it not harm her, it even covered her with clothes and saved her from that scum. Otherwise, the old ancestor and the others wouldn't have sent all of us to the Hengduan Mountains to search for that sentient black snake. Aren't demonic beasts all ball-like? What spirituality do they have? The level 6 human sighed, his face full of worry. The level 7 human sneered and said in a strange tone, "Do you really think that the old ancestor and the others sent us to search for that black snake because they doted on the young miss? Let me tell you, I've seen the corpse of that scum. Judging from the wounds on his body and the residual poison in his body, he did die in the hands of a snake-type demonic beast. Therefore, the young miss most likely wasn't lying. There really is a sentient black snake in the Hengduan Mountains." "Big brother, you mean, The level 6 human understood immediately. The worry on his face dissipated, and a glint flashed across his eyes. If that black snake didn't have some great opportunity, it must have eaten something incredible and gained intelligence, or it must have the bloodline of an ancient species. The reason why the old ancestor wanted us to capture that black snake should be because of the opportunity on the black snake. The level 7 human sneered. If that black snake had a great opportunity, then so be it. At most, the old ancestor and the others would bestow it to the young miss as a plaything. However, if that black snake had the bloodline of an ancient species, wouldn't the old ancestor and the others eat that black snake alive? Hearing the conversation between the two humans, Lin Yuan's eyes instantly turned gloomy and cold. This group of people really came for him. The young miss they were talking about was most likely the girl who was almost molested by her cousin. Who would have thought that just because he was moved by compassion once, he would actually bring disaster upon himself? It was fine if this group of people didn't know how to repay his kindness, but because they thought that he had the bloodline of an ancient species, they became greedy and specially sent experts into the Hengduan Mountains to search for him. Chapter 30. The two humans stopped at the side of the lake and scanned their surroundings, looking for any signs of demonic beasts. The level 6 human frowned and said weakly, "Why did Big Brother Lu Hu set this lake as our rendezvous point? Who knows what level of demonic beasts would come here to drink? I heard that those demon slayers who make a living in the Hengduan mountain range wouldn't easily get close to the water sources in the Hengduan mountain range. He is a servant of the Lu clan. Although he isn't weak, he has almost no experience in surviving in the wild." The level 7 human casually leaned against a tree and sneered. "Even if that black serpent is an ancient species, it can't be that strong since it appeared in the outskirts of the Hengduan mountain range." Lu Hu probably thought that the black serpent would come here to drink. He thought that even if he couldn't find the black serpent, he would still be able to find something by waiting here for a few days. Lin Yuan, who was eavesdropping on the two humans, sneered. The Lu Hu they were talking about wasn't stupid. He just didn't understand the environment in the wild. You want to wait here for a few more days? Although the area Lin Yuan appeared in was a corner of the Hengduan mountain range, the lake where he stayed was definitely the first choice of drinking water for countless demonic beasts. If it wasn't for his aura intimidating some weaker demonic beasts, this place wouldn't be so quiet. However, these two humans kept looking down on Lu Hu, but they didn't seem to understand the situation in the wild either. There were at least several hundred demonic beasts of the 5th level and above hiding nearby. They were all attracted by the smell of blood that had spread out earlier. If it wasn't for the fact that these two humans were of a high level and made these demonic beasts wary, they might have already been eaten by the horde. The level 7 human held a blade of grass in his mouth and said casually, "We brothers will rest here for a while. If Lu Hu doesn't come here before sunset, we will go straight back to the Lu clan. Without Lu Hu, an expert of the 8th level, I might not even be able to escape unscathed when the predators come out at night, let alone protect you." "Escape unscathed? Then wouldn't you be dreaming?" Lin Yuan sneered. "There is no door to fortune or misfortune. Only man can summon it." Previously, he had just turned into a black snake not long ago, and had not fully adapted to the law of survival in the jungle. That was why he let go of the woman who was not a threat to him. It was fine that he did not receive any reward, but this Lu family actually sent a level 8 human to lead a team into the Hengduan Mountains to capture him. If he didn't teach this so-called Lu family a lesson, he wouldn't be able to live a peaceful life in the Hengduan Mountains in the future. "You want to catch me in the jungle? I'll show you how hard it is to beg for food in the jungle." Lin Yuan swung his snake tail, and a water column was thrown out by him, hitting the tree that the level 7 human was leaning against. Boom! The thick tree swayed twice, and a slender crack gradually appeared at the place where the water column gathered. Then it fell straight back. At the same time, a strong black shadow jumped down from the fallen tree. "What is it?" The level 7 human spat out the grass root in his mouth, and hurriedly got up from the ground. He focused his eyes and saw a large black cat with a body length of nearly 10 meters. Its fur was smooth and silky, and it was sizing him up with its pair of dark green eyes. A level 6 demonic beast? The level 7 human's eyes widened, and he almost subconsciously reached out his hand to his waist. He wasn't a servant of the Liu family, but he wasn't a demon slayer either. In his early years, he was just a wanderer. He knew a little about demonic beasts, but he was clearly far from the professional level of a demon slayer. He could only recognize that this black cat was a level 6 demonic beast, but he didn't know what species it was, and he didn't know what talent it had. Shizi, quickly give me the saber. The level 7 human stared at the level 6 black cat as he slowly moved backward. Shizi was that level 6 human. Although he wasn't weak, he was actually inferior to him, and could only be his follower. In order to relax, he handed everything to Shizi. When he reached out his hand and touched nothing, he became even more flustered. The physique of a demonic beast was much stronger than that of a human. If he didn't have a suitable weapon, this level 6 black cat might be able to take his life. Brother Nan. Shizi's voice rang out. He didn't hand over the saber immediately, and he even sounded like he was about to cry. What the hell are you thinking about? Brother Nan had already retreated to Shizi's side. He saw the black cat's fur standing up, and the front half of its body was slightly bent, as if it was ready to attack at any time. He didn't dare to expose his back to the black cat. Woo 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 woo. We're surrounded by demonic beasts. Shizi's voice no longer sounded like he was about to cry. Instead, he simply started to cry. Hearing Shizi's words, Brother Nan felt a chill rise from his waist, and it continued to climb up his spine. Like a tide of fear, it almost instantly engulfed him. Shizi had a level 6 cultivation. Although he wasn't as strong as him, he was definitely considered an expert in the nearby cities. How could he be scared to tears after being surrounded by a group of demonic beasts? Brother Nan's reaction was extremely fast. He reached out to grab the saber hanging on Shizi's waist, and at the same time, he quickly scanned his surroundings. Pairs of eyes filled with greed and bloodlust flashed past. What the hell is this place? Elder Brother Nan felt his legs trembling. He was confident that he could kill a level 6 black cat, but there were over 100 demonic beasts standing around him, and even the weakest one was level 5. With such a lineup, even a team of well-equipped demon slayers would have to die here, let alone a warrior like him. Lin Yuan, who was hiding under the water, didn't feel any fluctuations in his heart. All the creatures that entered the forest would either become the hunter or the prey. Although the flowing water had already carried away the blood-stained lake water, this place was still shrouded in the smell of blood. The low-level demonic beasts didn't dare to casually enter Lin Yuan's territory, fearing that they would be eaten by Lin Yuan as food. However, the demonic beasts that were of the same level as Lin Yuan, or slightly weaker than him, didn't have such concerns. They were attracted here by their hunger, and if they couldn't get food, they would definitely cause quite a commotion. If these two humans hadn't suddenly barged into this place, Lin Yuan really didn't know how to deal with this situation. Of course, he wouldn't be in any life-threatening danger. The lake water and the waterfall could already isolate most of the demonic beasts. As for Lin Yuan, he only needed to add one more attribute point to become a level 7 demonic beast. Breaking through would instantly allow him to return to his peak state, and dealing with these level 6 and level 5 demonic beasts would be as easy as bullying little children. In a life and death situation, he could cancel his plan of accumulating 6 attribute points to maximize his benefits at any time. Chapter 31. Just as Brother Nan and Shizi had their backs against each other, and were trembling under the covetous gazes of the demonic beasts, a vigorous voice came from afar, instantly causing the eyes of the two to bloom with hope again. Brothers, move faster. Once we reach the gathering point, we can rest. Ding. A level 8 wild monster is detected to be rapidly approaching. Hosts should escape as soon as possible. Ding. A level 6 wild monster is detected to be rapidly approaching. Hosts should escape as soon as possible. Ding. A level 4 wild monster is detected to be rapidly approaching. The system notifications rang out one after another. Lin Yuan, who was hiding under the water, revealed a hint of lingering fear in his eyes. The level 8 wild monster should be the Lu Hu mentioned by Brother Nan and Shizi. He was also the leader in charge of the capture plan this time. There were 22 humans following behind him, and their cultivation ranged from level 3 to level 6. This brother Nan should be the vice captain, so he brought Shizi away from the main group to search an area alone. Perhaps, brother Nan had not only brought Shizi out. It was possible that the others had already been buried in the stomach of the demonic beasts. Charge out. Brother Nan's eyes shone brightly. He whispered to Shizi beside him. There are so many demonic beasts above level 5 gathered here. If Lu Hu sees us from afar, he will definitely not save us. If we want to live, we have to break out of the encirclement at Lu Hu's side and lure the demonic beasts over, forcing them to make a move. Okay. Shizi also calmed down. With a face full of tears, he held a long saber and nodded fiercely. Who would choose to die if they could live? As for how much damage this wave of trouble would bring to Lu Hu and his team, and how they would be blamed when they returned to the Lu family, it was no longer within the scope of brother Nan and Shizi's consideration. The two of them were not weak martial artists. Their movements were extremely fast. In the situation where hundreds of demonic beasts had not completely surrounded them, they chose the direction where Lu Hu's voice came from. With a few ups and downs, they rushed out dozens of meters away. Brother Nan even casually chopped down a leopard-type demonic beast that wanted to sneak attack them. Let me see what gives you the confidence to capture me. Lin Yuan hid under the water. After confirming that all the demonic beasts were chasing after the two, he slowly climbed out of the water to the shore. He wriggled his snake body and followed behind them. His snake body was more than 60 feet long, but he didn't make any movements at all. He was like an assassin wandering in the shadows. This could be considered a snake-type talent. Without limbs, they could only rely on their bodies to kill their prey. If they did not know how to conceal themselves, they would starve to death. The two of them charged forward, covering a distance of over 300 meters. There was still some distance between them and Lu Hu. However, the Yao beasts behind them were extremely fast. They were practically right behind the two of them. Occasionally, the Yao beasts would spray out flames, wind blades and the like to attack their backs. I'm sorry, brother. Brother Nan's eyes suddenly flashed with a cold light. What? Shizi's reaction was slow as he raised his head to look at brother Nan. Just as he opened his mouth, he felt an intense pain coming from his abdomen. His body flew up uncontrollably and heavily smashed into the group of Yao beasts behind him. Shizi didn't even have the time to curse before he was torn to pieces by countless Yao beasts. A large amount of flesh and organs were bitten and devoured. Even his blood was thrown into a bloody mist. The scene looked extremely tragic. Hiss hiss. Lin Yuan's snake tongue flickered as he coldly looked at this scene. Humans claim to be the most intelligent of all creatures. However, deep in their bones, there was a thick, deep-rooted evil nature. It was just that some people concealed it, while some people just revealed this evil nature on the surface. It was said that even a vicious tiger would not eat its cubs. However, in the human society of his previous life, for the sake of benefits, it was not uncommon for brothers to fight against each other. Lin Yuan suddenly remembered a question he had heard in his previous life. It was said that if two people encountered a bear in the forest and couldn't beat it, what should they do? The answer was very laughable and cruel. The opponent was not the bear, but their companion. As long as they ran faster than the other person, then the one who would be eaten would not be them. The scene in front of him overlapped with the question he had heard in his previous life. Lin Yuan only felt a little amused. Brother Nan and Shizi had previously called each other brothers. When they were being chased by a group of Yao beasts, Brother Nan did not hesitate to throw Shizi into the group of Yao beasts for them to eat. Even though he knew very well that Shizi alone could not satisfy the group of Yao beasts, in order to buy himself 2 or 3 seconds, he still did not hesitate to make a move. Lu Hu's group was approaching, and Brother Nan was frantically fleeing. After the Yao beasts had eaten Shizi in an instant, they still chased after Brother Nan tightly. Su Nan, what the F***ck are you trying to do? In the distance, walking at the front of the group, a burly man with dark and rough skin like an iron tower stared blankly at Brother Nan leading hundreds of Yao beasts towards him. He almost jumped up and cursed. No wonder they could run rampant in this area, and didn't even see a single demonic beast above level 5. It turned out that they were all following Su Nan's ass. Brother! Brother Hoo-ha, save me! Su Nan panted heavily as he continued to run towards Lu Hu. He even shouted, Brother Hu, there is a good treasure here. These Yao beasts have gathered here to fight for the treasure. Quickly help me kill these Yao beasts. As long as we take this treasure back, even if we can't catch the black snake, the ancestor will still reward us. Humph. Prepare for battle. Lu Hu snorted coldly, but did not decisively run away. Instead, he reached out and pulled out a large sword tied to his back. The group of humans following behind him also pulled out all kinds of weapons. Among them, 10 people walked to the front of the group. They reached out and picked up exquisitely made crossbows, aiming at the Yao beasts in front of them. Lin Yuan, who was far behind the Yao beasts, narrowed his eyes slightly. In a flash, he hid in the bushes at the side. Whether it was this world or the literature he had read in his previous life, humans relied on various weapons and tools to drive the Yao beasts deep into the mountains and forests. In this world where Yao beasts existed, humans still occupied a large amount of fertile land to build cities and recuperate. Therefore, Lin Yuan did not doubt that humans had divine weapons and the like in their hands. For example, the large sword in Lu Hu's hand. The sword was 1 foot and 5 inches long, which was about 1.4 meters long. The thick back of the sword was engraved with a golden dragon. On the sharp edge of the sword, there were notches like sharp teeth. Even if Lin Yuan did not know much about cold weapons, he could feel the painstaking efforts of the craftsman on this sword. Even if a level 7 Yao beast was hit by this sword, its skin would be torn open and its flesh would be mangled. Chapter 32. Su Nan, if you can't give me an explanation, I'll skin you myself. Lu Hu looked at Su Nan, who was running quickly, and roared with a ferocious face, Get ready to shoot! In fact, he didn't believe Su Nan. After all, he was a servant of the Lu family and had lived in the Lu family since he was a child. He didn't have a good impression of Su Nan, who was a foreign guest. However, the scene in front of him was too strange. Lu Hu had to believe that Su Nan really had a rare treasure. It was not rare for hundreds of demonic beasts to form a beast tide. However, it was strange that the weakest one among them was a level 5 demonic beast. Normally, a beast tide would be led by one or a few high-level demonic beasts. It was rare to see a beast tide of demonic beasts with similar strength in the entire Hengduan mountain range. Apart from the fact that Su Nan had snatched the rare treasure they had set their eyes on, Lu Hu couldn't think of any other reason why these powerful demonic beasts would gather in this place. Moreover, they didn't kill each other, and instead continued to bite Su Nan. After hearing Lu Hu's get ready to shoot, Su Nan didn't continue to run. Instead, he quickly rushed forward and pressed his whole body to the ground. He didn't even dare to raise his head. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. The crossbow bolts were shot out one after another, and quickly escaped the restriction of the crossbows. Several demonic beasts that were about to pounce on Su Nan had just jumped up when they were shot by the crossbow bolts, which were as long as an adult's forearm. They died on the spot. The rest of the demonic beasts had to bear the attack of the crossbow bolts. Their advancing speed had been suppressed. Only the dozens of level 6 demonic beasts could bear the attack. The rest of the level 5 demonic beasts were shot to death in an instant. Only the demonic beasts behind the level 6 demonic beasts were spared. After a round of arrow rain, Su Nan continued to approach Lu Hu while rolling and crawling. The steel saber in his hand smashed the innate abilities of some demonic beasts. He didn't dare to slow down. Kill! Lu Hu raised the saber in his hand and took the lead. He roared and rushed out of the group. 10 crossbows shot out hundreds of bolts in an instant. Moreover, the bolts are specially made and can kill level 5 demonic beasts instantly. However, the threat to level 6 demonic beasts is extremely limited. At most, it can restrict the movement speed of the level 6 demonic beasts. Ha ha ha, the Lu family really paid a lot to catch me. Lin Yuan quickly made a judgment on the current situation. His vertical pupils flashed with a cold chill. If it weren't for the coincidence, the crossbows prepared by Lu Hu and the others would have been used on him. After the rain of arrows, the number of demonic beasts that remained was less than half of the previous number. However, After being stimulated by the fresh blood, they became even more ferocious. Under the leadership of 36th-level demonic beasts, they clashed with Lu Hu's team. A nearly 6-foot-long wild boar used its tusks to pierce through the intestines of a human cultivator. In the blink of an eye, another human cultivator slashed at it, chopping off one of its trotters. Before this human cultivator could even celebrate, a crimson python coiled around him. In just a few breaths of time, a large amount of blood was squeezed out from the cracks in the python's body. Both sides fought back and forth, but Lin Yuan, who was hiding at the side, was distressed. Those were all his attribute points. In the past, he could still obtain them. However, after the system's evolution, he could no longer obtain them. Whether it was a human or a demonic beast, if they died like this, he wouldn't be able to obtain any benefits. Thinking of this, Lin Yuan slithered his snake body through the bushes, slowly approaching the battlefield in front of him. He had 5 attribute points stored in his hands. If he killed 2 or 3 6th-level demonic beasts or humans, he would be able to advance and officially enter the ranks of the 7th-level demonic beasts, becoming the top predator in this area. The black cat that was confronting Su Nan was split into 2 by Lu Hu's blade. Only then did Lu Hu rush to Su Nan's side. Frowning, he asked, "The treasure you mentioned, what exactly is it?" "Brother Hu, I'm not your opponent. Naturally, I wouldn't dare to lie to you. The treasure is indeed in my hands, and I've already sealed it away. Once we kill these demonic beasts, I'll give you the treasure. If I take it out now, it will only make these demonic beasts more violent and cause unnecessary casualties." Su Nan slashed a large green bird that swooped down, and replied in a hurried tone. Lu Hu thought carefully, and felt that Su Nan's words were reasonable. He simply stopped asking and waved his large blade to kill the demonic beasts. Naive. Lin Yuan, who was approaching the battlefield, sneered again and again. What kind of treasure does Su Nan have? He only provoked these demonic beasts, so he was chased to this place. A casual lie forced Lu Hu to fight the demonic beasts. Once the battle was over, no matter how strong Lu Hu was, he would be exhausted, right? This Su Nan probably didn't intend to let Lu Hu live from the moment he lied to him. He was clearly wearing the skin of a human, but this Su Nan was even more vicious than the venom secreted by his fangs. After killing another level 6 demonic beast, Lu Hu suddenly frowned. He tilted his head and looked to the side. A black snake with a length of about 60 feet was shuttling through the battlefield at lightning speed. From time to time, it would attack the injured humans or demonic beasts. It looked like a glutton choosing a meal that suited its taste. It's that black snake. Lu Hu's mind buzzed. This black snake didn't mindlessly attack human cultivators like the other demonic beasts. It even attacked the injured demonic beasts as prey. When it encountered something not to be trifled with, it would stay far away. It wouldn't be reckless at all. With such extraordinary intelligence, perhaps only the black snake that the young miss spoke of could match it. But this size, was a 6-feet-long snake still a snake? Did the young miss see wrongly back then? Or could it be that this black snake really had the bloodline of an ancient species in its body? That was why it grew at such a shocking speed. It grew from a small black snake to a 20-meter giant in such a short time. Lu Hu's eyes flashed with eagerness. Naturally, it wasn't his turn to share the benefits of the old ancestor. But if he could bring this black snake back to the Lu family, for a long time in the future, the Lu family would pay for his cultivation resources with their eyes closed. A person who is about to die, but his abacus is quite good. Noticing the eagerness in Lu Hu's eyes, Lin Yuan sneered in his heart. Lin Yuan allocated a little attribute point to defense, and a warm current suddenly swept through his whole body. The 6-feet-long snake body once again grew by more than 2 feet, and the overall length had exceeded 25 meters. The snake body, which was as thick as the mouth of a bowl, was also as thick as the mouth of a small barrel. It leveled up again. Lu Hu was surprised and happy. He knew that this black snake wasn't ordinary, but he never thought that the black snake's aptitude would be so terrifying. Chapter 33. Lin Yuan and Lu Hu looked at each other across a distance of 200 meters. Then he slapped the ground with his snake tail, borrowed the force, and flew into the jungle beside him, disappearing without a trace like a ghost. Amazing! Lu Hu's eyes showed a touch of vigilance. This black snake had just advanced to Class 7, but its speed was much faster than ordinary Class 7 demonic beasts. If it wasn't for the fact that the black snake had slapped the ground and left a black spider web-like crack that covered an area of about 30 meters, he might have thought that the black snake he saw was just an illusion. Brother Hu, Sunan strode to Lu Hu's side. His face was almost pale. The Lu family asked them to enter the Hengduan Mountains to capture a black snake with extraordinary intelligence. At first, he thought it was just a task to please the ancestors. But at this moment, after seeing the black snake with his own eyes, Sunan suddenly realized that he was simply wrong. How could he be qualified to capture a monster of this level? If this black snake was among the monsters before, he would have become the black snake's food. Even if they were both level 7 monsters, Sunan didn't think that he had the power to fight the black snake. After all, the difference between a human and a monster's physique was too big. If he slashed the black snake with his saber, the latter would most likely not feel pain or itch. At most, it would be irritated. But if he was hit by the black snake's tail, his bones would be broken on the spot. Chase! Lu Hu narrowed his eyes and directly interrupted Sunan. He stepped in the direction of Lin Yuan's departure. How long has it been since the miss returned to the Lu family? This black snake had grown from a harmless little snake to a body length of more than 25 meters. Among the level 7 monsters, it could be regarded as a top monster. If he couldn't capture the black snake back to the Lu family today, when the next time he organized people to enter the Hengduan Mountains, who knew what level the black snake's strength had reached? No, Brother Hu, Sunan spoke again with a difficult expression. The Lu family's slaves were still fighting with the demon beasts. Without a top expert like Lu Hu in front of them, those Class 6 demon beasts were simply not something that the Lu family's slaves could resist. Now that the battle had turned into a one-sided massacre, Lu Hu not only didn't want to help the Lu family's slaves, but instead wanted to chase after that terrifying black snake. However, Lu Hu didn't give Sunan a chance to speak. His whole body had already shot out, and the thick broadsword in his hand was almost like a whirlwind. The trees that were in his way were instantly cut down by the blade light. F***ck. Sunan cursed and chased after Lu Hu with an unsightly expression. It was the instinct of living creatures to seek advantages and avoid disadvantages, and it was even more so for a selfish person like Sunan. Seeing that Lu Hu did not hesitate, he did not even look at the Lu mansion's servants who were screaming for help behind him. The black snake's strength was indeed terrifying, but Lu Hu still had the golden dragon saber that the Lu family bought at a high price. Any demon beast below Class 9 could only temporarily avoid Lu Hu's attack, let alone a black snake that had just reached Class 7. Moreover, the Lu family's slaves had already begun to be slaughtered by the demon beasts. If Lu Hu didn't help, with his Class 7 strength, he wouldn't be able to change the outcome of the battle. If he was trapped here, he might not even have the chance to escape. As for the other options, they were all blocked by Sunan's rationality. Return to the Lu family? They hadn't caught the black snake, and they had lost almost all of their men. Even Lu Hu's whereabouts were unknown, and they didn't have the rare treasure that he had lied to Lu Hu about. If he returned to the Lu family under such circumstances, being skinned alive by the ancestors would be considered a light punishment. As for crossing the Hengduan mountain range alone, and going to other cities or countries, that would be even more of a joke. The demon beast forest in the periphery of the Hengduan mountain range almost took his life. Then how could he go to the depths of the Hengduan mountain range, which was known as the forbidden area of the human race, where even the top demon slayers didn't dare to casually step into? The two followed the trail left behind by the black snake, and soon arrived at the edge of a huge lake. It's still a water snake. Lu Hu stabbed the golden dragon saber into the soil beside him, his face so gloomy that it was almost dripping water. With the speed of the black snake, he didn't have 100% confidence that he could stop it even if they were on the ground, let alone underwater. Brother Hu, why don't we go back first and report the situation here to the ancestors? I think with just the two of us, we'll only be food for the black snake if we go underwater, Sunan said, feeling a little weak in his heart. When he came back to the lake, he suddenly thought of something. For example, where did the water column that lured out the Class 6 black cat and the demon beasts come from? Sunan had been wandering the Jianghu for a long time. Although he couldn't compare to professional demon slayers, he had seen many demon beasts. However, it was his first time seeing an existence like the black snake that knew how to use other demon beasts. With such intelligence, was it really just a Class 7 snake-type demon beast? It's too late. Lu Hu sighed. His mind recovered some clarity, and he said, "Now even if we want to leave, the black snake won't let us go." It clearly could have used the force of that slap to fly away and return to this lake without leaving a trace, but it just left behind the snake shin that can be said to be a guiding light for us. Take a guess. Why did it lead us here? Sunan's face turned pale. How could this beast be so smart? And it knew how to play the game of inviting others into its trap? Alas! Lu Hu sighed helplessly. He patted Sunan's shoulder and said in a deep voice, "You're the only one left of your team of 20 people. I know you took a big risk to snatch the treasure from the hands of those demonic beasts. But now the situation is better than you. If you throw the treasure into the lake, perhaps that black snake will let us go." Sunan's face turned even paler. "Brother Hu, I'll tell you the truth. Don't be angry." Sunan coughed dryly and said, "Actually, I didn't find any treasure at all. And I don't know why those demon beasts were chasing me like crazy. I lied to you because I was worried that you would retreat with your team. If that happened, I would definitely die under the claws of the demon beasts, so, slap." Before Sunan could finish his words, Lu Hu slapped him across the face. "Do you think I'm a fool?" Lu Hu pointed at Sunan and roared, "If you don't have any treasure, how did you attract hundreds of demon beasts of Class 5 and above? Look at the situation now. If you still want to take the treasure, neither of us will be able to leave here alive." Chapter 34. I really didn't. I just wanted to live. After being slapped by Lu Hu, Sunan immediately roared with red eyes. The sudden appearance of the black snake had completely disrupted his previous plan. Now Lu Hu still had the strength to fight, and he had a treasure like the golden dragon saber in his hand. He was definitely not in existence that he could contend with. If they fought now, Lu Hu would pay the price of minor injuries at most to take his life. Then tell me, why did the black snake lead us here? Lu Hu's gaze was like ice that would never melt. His calm gaze caused Sunan to shiver involuntarily. He no longer had the reckless drive to catch the black snake. Once it entered the water, the black snake was already in an invincible position. Only those experts above LV10, who could release their genuine chi externally, would be able to catch this cunning black snake from the water. However, this was far beyond his ability. Even if there were opportunities everywhere in the Hengduan Mountains, it was impossible for him to break through the threshold of LV10 and become an extraordinary immortal just by eating 2 wild fruits like in the storyteller's story. If it were other monsters, he could still think of a way to lure the black snake ashore. Even if he could not catch the black snake alive, he could at least take the opportunity to kill the black snake and eliminate any worries. However, at this moment, he had already seen the intelligence of the black snake. He was very clear in his heart that this kind of demonic beast, whose intelligence was not inferior to that of humans, would not be easily fooled. Moreover, from here to the nearest human gathering place, even if they hurried through the night, it would take at least 3 days of travel. If this black snake followed behind them and attacked from time to time, it would be enough to wear him down to death. At the same time, Lin Yuan, who was lurking under the water, changed his posture and exposed his white belly, allowing the water to wash his body. He sneered in his heart. "You will know my purpose soon." Name: Battle for the Nest Stage 2. The name of the Hill Master. Description: You have finally stood out from many opponents and successfully built a nest. However, the newly built nest will attract competition. You can complete this task after successfully repelling 3 waves of monsters above level 5. Progress 2/3. Lin Yuan glanced at the system's quest panel and felt very happy. The first batch of green main wind stepping foals almost took his life. Especially after the Horse King broke through to the 6th level. It had an additional berserk effect. Even if he won in the end, His condition was extremely bad. Didn't you see the system advising him to escape when he scanned the 5th level monsters on the map? What was a class 5 demonic beast in his eyes? Even if you killed him, you might not get any attribute points. The second stage of the beast horde was undoubtedly much more terrifying than the green main wind stepping foals. Hundreds of 5th grade beasts and above were gathered around the lake. Among them, there were 30 to 40 6th grade beasts. If the system gave him another mission that didn't allow him to avoid the battle, he would really have to fight to the death. Fortunately, Sunan and Shizi had arrived at the side of the lake by accident. First, they scared away a group of monsters that were rather vigilant and unwilling to get entangled with humans. Then they lured the remaining monsters to collide head-on with Lu Hu. Lin Yuan reckoned that the battle over there had already ended, and the remaining demonic beasts had eaten their fill, so they simply returned to their own homes. The system immediately determined that he had completed the second stage of the Beast Horde mission. Then what about the third Beast Horde? Would it be even more terrifying than the second Beast Horde? Lin Yuan didn't know, and he didn't want to take the risk. Since the system had tacitly allowed him to borrow the strength of humans, Lin Yuan didn't need to face the dangers of the third Beast Horde head-on. As for Lu Hu's plan? Lin Yuan opened his mouth and flicked his tongue, revealing his sharp venomous fangs. Not to mention that Sunan didn't have any rare treasures, even if he did. So what? Only children could choose. Adults wanted everything. Not to mention that this group of people was here to capture him. Even if they were a group of demon slayer masters who had mistakenly entered this place, Lin Yuan wouldn't let them leave. Boom. Boom. Suddenly, a series of loud sounds rang out in the distance, like rolling thunder. Even Lin Yuan, who was hiding in the water, could feel the lake shaking. A pair of vertical pupils the size of 2/3 of a human head lit up. Compared to the sound of the azure main wind treading foals approaching, this time, he heard a much louder and clearer sound. He could even tell that the thunderous sounds came from the footsteps of a certain demonic beast. Lin Yuan spat out the snake's forked tongue underwater. A demonic beast that walked on 2 legs was at least one of the strongest demonic beasts of the 7th grade. Even the ferocious Horse King wouldn't have much of an advantage against it. Combining all these factors, Lin Yuan quickly thought of another overlord in this area. It was a demonic beast that had escaped from the depths of the Hengduan Mountains. Although it was only a demonic beast of the 7th grade, its combat strength was comparable to a demonic beast of the 9th grade. Moreover, as a demonic beast of the primate species, it was obviously more intelligent than those demonic beasts that only knew how to use their claws and fangs to attack. It also knew how to use some simple tools. Lin Yuan didn't have any qualms about having such a terrifying existence near his lair. After all, he was now a water snake, and the other party preferred to roam freely in the mountains. Moreover, there were no boundaries between their territories. Unless Lin Yuan wanted to be strong enough to hunt it down and turn it into his attribute points, there was almost no possibility of conflict. However, Lin Yuan never thought that the boss assigned to him in the name of the Mountain Master mission would be this demonic beast. Mountain Shaking Ape. Lu Hu, who was standing on the shore, spat out the name of the demonic beast with a gloomy face. How could it be the Mountain Shaking Ape? Sunan exclaimed. His legs trembled as he said, "Isn't the Mountain Shaking Ape one of the tribes in the depths of the Hengduan Mountains? This is only the periphery of the Hengduan Mountains. How could the Mountain Shaking Ape appear here?" Lu Hu laughed at himself and murmured, "It seems that you really don't have any rare treasures on you. That black snake probably predicted that the Mountain Shaking Ape would come to find trouble with it, so it deliberately led us here to use us to fight against the Mountain Shaking Ape. I didn't expect that I, Lu Hu, would be tricked by a beast. Ha 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 ha, how ridiculous. Then we should leave first, sit on the mountain and watch the tigers fight?" Under the fear, Sunan almost couldn't speak clearly and incoherently. He stood beside Lu Hu and trembled slightly. The demonic beast of the 7th grade was already in existence that he couldn't compete with. How could the Mountain Shaking Ape, which was rumored to have a growth limit of 10 and above, be easy to deal with? Being sandwiched between these two ferocious beasts, it would be an extravagant hope for him to die in one piece. Chapter 35. That's impossible. That mountain-shaking ape's foundation was damaged by Demon Slayer. That's why it was driven out by its clan, and had no choice but to come to the periphery of the Hungduan Mountains to make a living. It hates humans to the core. No matter whether it's here to cause trouble for the Black Snake or not, it won't let us leave after seeing us. Lu Hu said in a deep voice, looking in the direction where the mountain-shaking ape had come from. Lu Hu didn't spend much time in the wilderness. At most, he would occasionally bring a few brothers to make up the numbers when the Lu family's caravan didn't have enough guards. However, after living in the Lu family for so many years, Lu Hu actually knew some of the Lu family's secrets. The Demon Slayer team that had provoked the mountain-shaking apes was hired by the Lu family's ancestor. Their original intention was to capture a few mountain-shaking apes and tame them. Unexpectedly, those Demon Slayers were not skilled enough. Not only did they fail to steal the mountain-shaking ape's cubs, they even disturbed them. The two sides fought a great battle. The team of Demon Slayers, which had 2 warriors above the 10th level, was completely wiped out. 7 mountain-shaking apes were killed, and countless others were injured. This mountain-shaking ape that had been driven out was either a lucky or unlucky guy. Demon Slayer had severely injured it, and thought that it was already dead, so he didn't finish it off. Unexpectedly, this guy had survived, but its foundation had been damaged, and its strength had regressed to the level of a 7th-level demonic beast. It couldn't survive in the depths of the Hungduan Mountains, so it was driven out by its clan. Roar! A roar came from afar. Su Nan had just heard this roar when he felt a gust of wind coming at him. Clang! Lu Hu, who was standing beside Su Nan, reacted quickly. He raised the golden dragon saber in his hand and firmly blocked the incoming fist. However, Su Nan, who was slightly weaker and unprepared, was directly hit by the mountain-shaking ape's sneak attack. He spat out a mouthful of blood, and was sent flying toward the lake. Bang! Suddenly, a water column shot out from the calm lake and caught Su Nan firmly. Then it gently brought Su Nan back to Lu Hu's side. Lu Hu, who had seen this scene with his own eyes, felt his scalp tingle. That Black Snake really had this idea. He wanted to use them to fight against the mountain-shaking ape. Otherwise, Black Snake would have taken the opportunity to take Su Nan's life. Why would he save Su Nan? Motherf *Ker, let's fight! Lu Hu abruptly leaped up, not caring if Su Nan was dead or alive. Gripping the golden dragon saber with both hands, he launched his most powerful attack at the nearly 10-jong-tall ape, who was half-sitting on the ground. Its entire body was covered in silver-white fur, and its chest, abdomen, and other parts of its body were exposed to the air. If he stood on the side of the Black Snake and fought against the mountain-shaking ape, he could at least preserve his life for the time being. Only when he was alive could he make other plans. But if he tried to escape now, not to mention the mountain-shaking ape, even the Black Snake wouldn't agree. Roar! The mountain-shaking ape became even more irritable when it saw that this tiny human was actually not scared to the point of fleeing, and even dared to attack it. Even if it was driven out of its tribe, it used to be one of the rulers of the depths of the Hungduan Mountains. The dignity of a king was absolutely inviolable. The mountain-shaking ape suddenly raised its right arm. Lin Yuan, who was floating on the water, keenly saw that a layer of gray light suddenly flashed on the arm covered with silver-white fur. This guy can use his superpower on himself? Lin Yuan was slightly startled. All demonic beasts would awaken abilities after reaching level 5. For example, the Lin Xiang and the Golden Lion that he saw earlier could summon stone spikes, and the Golden Lion could spit fire. Then there was the Green Mane Wind Stepping Foal, a demonic beast with an extraordinary bloodline that could condense wind blades to attack its enemies. But all the monsters Lin Yuan had seen, including himself, could control some kind of element to attack. The attributes of the mountain-shaking ape were similar to the Lin Xiang. They both had the innate ability to control the earth and rocks, but it could use this ability on itself to increase its defense or strength. It was indeed a tribe that lived in the depths of the Hungduan Mountains. Everyone's skills were not on the same level. Lin Yuan's current ability to control water was at most a shallow use of elemental power. Only after practicing to the level of the mountain-shaking ape could it be called a skill. Zap! The golden dragon's saber slashed heavily on the mountain-shaking ape's petrified right arm, splashing out a burst of sparks. The mountain-shaking ape suddenly punched out with its free left hand, directly smashing towards Lu Hu, who was still in the air and had nowhere to borrow strength. Sunan, if you don't King make a move, both of us will die. Lu Hu's eyes were filled with scarlet red streaks. He still maintained the posture of slashing his saber as he roared out. Sunan, who was lying on the ground, got up with a resentful expression. He waved the steel saber in his hand, mobilized his true chi, and jumped into the air to meet the mountain-shaking ape's fist. After confessing that he did not have a rare treasure, Sunan knew that he had offended Lu Hu. If he hadn't given the wrong information, Lu Hu wouldn't have recklessly chased him here, and he wouldn't have become a bargaining chip used by the black snake to fight against the mountain-shaking ape. Strictly speaking, he and Lu Hu were already mortal enemies. Therefore, Sunan just wanted to wait until the black snake could not help but join the battle between Lu Hu and the mountain-shaking ape. Then he would find a chance to sneak away. He did not expect that his deliberate act of lying on the ground after being punched by the mountain-shaking ape had been seen through by Lu Hu. Although the steel saber in Sunan's hand was not as good as Lu Hu's golden dragon saber, Sunan still managed to block the fist of the mountain-shaking ape. He did not let the ape attack Lu Hu, who was trying to break its defense. Damn it, when is this black snake going to make a move? Is it going to wait for us to die and then fight with the mountain-shaking ape? How is this possible? How can a level 7 black snake be the opponent of the mountain-shaking ape? Lu Hu turned his head and glanced at the black snake whose body was half floating out of the air. Suddenly, an absurd idea came into his mind. This beast seemed to be laughing? What was it laughing at? Hiss hiss. Lin Yuan slowly flicked the snake's tongue, relying on the smell to detect the wind and grass within a radius of 500 meters. A sinister villain like Sunan wanted to play tricks. It was okay to bully a guy like Lu Hu who was inexperienced. Compared to the fickleness of human nature, good and evil, Lin Yuan had seen in his previous life, Sunan's little trick was as simple as a child who was still in kindergarten in Lin Yuan's eyes. Silently observing the mountain-shaking ape's movements and looking for the opponent's weakness, Lin Yuan opened the attribute pane. He still had 5 attribute points in his hand. Including all attributes after the bonus, his attribute points were enough to accumulate to 38 points. Chapter 36. That's impossible. That mountain-shaking ape's foundation was damaged by Demon Slayer. That's why it was driven out by its clan, and had no choice but to come to the periphery of the Hengduan Mountains to make a living. It hates humans to the core. No matter whether it's here to cause trouble for the black snake or not, it won't let us leave after seeing us. Lu Hu said in a deep voice, looking in the direction where the mountain-shaking ape had come from. Lu Hu didn't spend much time in the wilderness. At most, he would occasionally bring a few brothers to make up the numbers when the Lu family's caravan didn't have enough guards. However, after living in the Lu family for so many years, Lu Hu actually knew some of the Lu family's secrets. The Demon Slayer team that had provoked the mountain-shaking apes was hired by the Lu family's ancestor. Their original intention was to capture a few mountain-shaking apes and tame them. Unexpectedly, those Demon Slayers weren't skilled enough. Not only did they fail to steal the mountain-shaking ape's cubs, they even disturbed them. The two sides fought a great battle. The team of Demon Slayers, which had 2 warriors above the 10th level, was completely wiped out. 7 mountain-shaking apes were killed, and countless others were injured. This mountain-shaking ape that had been driven out was either a lucky or unlucky guy. Demon Slayer severely injured it and thought that it was already dead, so he didn't finish it off. Unexpectedly, this guy survived, but its foundation was damaged, and its strength regressed to the level of a 7th-level demonic beast. It couldn't survive in the depths of the Hengduan Mountains, so it was driven out by its clan. Roar! A roar came from afar. Sunan had just heard this roar when he felt a gust of wind coming at him. Clang! Lu Hu, who was standing beside Sunan, reacted quickly. He raised the golden dragon saber in his hand, and firmly blocked the incoming fist. However, Sunan, who was slightly weaker and unprepared, was hit by the mountain-shaking ape's sneak attack. He spat out a mouthful of blood and was sent flying toward the lake. Bang! Suddenly, a water column shot out from the calm lake and caught Su Nan firmly. Then it gently brought Su Nan back to Lu Hu's side. Seeing this scene with his own eyes, Lu Hu felt his scalp go numb. That black snake really had this idea. He wanted to use them to fight against the mountain-shaking ape. Otherwise, Black Snake would have taken the opportunity to take Su Nan's life. Why would he save Su Nan? Motherf *Ker, let's fight. Lu Hu abruptly leaped up, not caring if Su Nan was dead or alive. Gripping the golden dragon saber with both hands, he launched his most powerful attack at the nearly 10-jong-tall ape, who was half sitting on the ground. Its entire body was covered in silver-white fur, and its chest, abdomen, and other parts of its body were exposed to the air. If he stood on the side of the black snake and fought against the mountain-shaking ape, he could at least preserve his life for the time being. Only when he was alive could he make other plans. But if he tried to escape now, not to mention the mountain-shaking ape, even the black snake wouldn't agree. Roar! The mountain-shaking ape became even more irritable when it saw that this tiny human was actually not scared to the point of fleeing, and even dared to attack it. Even if it was driven out of its tribe, it used to be one of the rulers of the depths of the Hengduan mountain range. The dignity of a king was absolutely inviolable. The mountain-shaking ape suddenly raised its right arm. Lin Yuan, who was floating on the water, keenly saw that a layer of gray light suddenly flashed on the silver-white fluffy arm. This guy can use his superpower on himself? Lin Yuan was slightly startled. After reaching level 5, demonic beasts would awaken superpowers. For example, the Lin Xiang and the golden lion he saw before could summon stone spikes, and the other could spit fire. Then there was the green mane wind stepping foal, a demonic beast with an extraordinary bloodline, which could condense wind blades to attack the enemy when it was born. However, all the demonic beasts Lin Yuan had seen, including himself, could control some kind of element to attack. The mountain-shaking ape's attributes were similar to the Lin Xiang's. They both had the innate ability to control the earth and rocks, but it could use this ability on itself to increase its defense or strength. It was indeed a tribe that lived in the depths of the Hengduan mountain range. Everyone's skills were not on the same level. Lin Yuan's current ability to control water was, at most, a superficial use of the power of the elements. Only after practicing to the level of the mountain-shaking ape could it be called a skill. Sizzle! The golden dragon saber slashed heavily on the mountain-shaking ape's petrified right arm, splashing out a burst of sparks. The mountain-shaking ape's free left hand suddenly punched out, directly smashing towards Lu Hu, who was still in the air and had nowhere to borrow strength. Su Nan, if you don't *King make a move, both of us will die. Lu Hu's eyes were filled with scarlet streaks. He still maintained the posture of slashing his saber as he roared out. Su Nan, who was lying on the ground, got up with a resentful expression. He waved the steel saber in his hand, mobilized the true chi in his body, and jumped into the air to meet the mountain-shaking ape's fist. After confessing that he did not have a rare treasure, Su Nan knew that he had offended Lu Hu. If he hadn't given the wrong information, Lu Hu wouldn't have recklessly chased him here, and he wouldn't have become a bargaining chip used by the black snake to fight against the mountain-shaking ape. Strictly speaking, he and Lu Hu were already mortal enemies. Therefore, Su Nan just wanted to wait until the black snake could not help but join the battle between Lu Hu and the mountain-shaking ape. Then he would find a chance to sneak away. He did not expect that his deliberate act of lying on the ground after being punched by the mountain-shaking ape had been seen through by Lu Hu. Although the steel saber in his hand was not as good as Lu Hu's golden dragon saber, Su Nan's strength was enough to successfully block the mountain-shaking ape's fist, and did not let it attack Lu Hu, who was trying to break its defense. Damn it! When is this black snake going to make a move? Is it going to wait for us to die and then fight the mountain-shaking ape? How is this possible? How can a level 7 black snake be an opponent of the mountain-shaking ape? Lu Hu turned his head and glanced at the black snake, whose body was half floating out of the air, and suddenly an absurd idea came to his mind. This beast seems to be laughing? What is it laughing at? Hiss hiss. Lin Yuan slowly flicked the snake's tongue, relying on the smell to detect the wind and grass within a radius of 500 meters. A sinister villain like Su Nan wants to play mind games and bully an inexperienced guy like Lu Hu. However, compared to the fickleness and warmth of human nature, good and evil, Lin Yuan has seen in his previous life, Su Nan's little tricks are as simple as a child who is still in kindergarten in Lin Yuan's eyes. Silently observing the mountain-shaking ape's movements and looking for the opponent's weakness, Lin Yuan opened the attribute Pain. He still had 5 attribute points in his hand. Including all attributes after the bonus, his attribute points were enough to accumulate 38 points. Chapter 37. Lin Yuan looked at the quest reward and was at a loss for a moment. He could randomly draw a one-time item with no level restriction. If he was lucky, it was possible to draw a magic scroll that could destroy the world like in the novels of his previous life. However, this kind of lucky draw not only had a high upper limit, but also a low lower limit. If he was unlucky, he might even draw a thank you for your patronage. Lin Yuan added the remaining 5 attribute points to the interface. Feeling the increase in his strength, he became more confident. Host, Lin Yuan status. Big Black Snake Evolvable Realm, 7 out of 10 talent. 1. Identify the enemy's location based on smell 2. Create an accurate image of a 500-meter radius based on smell 3. Water control speed. 11 plus 2 defense. 10 plus 2 attack. 11 plus 2 assignable points. 0 martial arts. Golden body secret skills. 1. Strangle 2. Venom strengthen 3. Tail strike item. Light feather skill draw count. 2 with the blessing of 38 attribute points. Lin Yuan had already brazenly swung his snake body and ferociously smashed it toward the mountain-shaking ape, who was staring at him vigilantly. The thick snake body was like a thick black log, fiercely crashing into the arms of the mountain-shaking ape. Boom! Boom! After being hit by Lin Yuan, the mountain-shaking ape staggered back 2 steps. Only then did it realize that the thorn in its side had entered its attack range. It roared and opened its arms to tear Lin Yuan's snake body apart. Tail strike. The reaction of Lin Yuan, who had succeeded in the sneak attack, was obviously much faster than that of the ape. His black snake tail fiercely whipped the wound on the ape's right arm. Lin Yuan's huge body, terrifying speed, and a little bit of true damage and shock power attached to the tail attack skill immediately smashed the flesh and blood of the ape into the air. Gulp. Su Nan swallowed a mouthful of saliva with difficulty as he watched the incredible battle in front of him. Lu Hu's action of using more than half of his true chi to attack was simply laughable in the face of true power. The black snake swung its tail and hit the ape's wound. This weak point attack almost broke the ape's arm. Su Nan could even clearly see that after the ape's right arm lost its flesh, the pale white bones and the red flesh membrane attached to the bones were exposed. He knew that the black snake was very smart. However, the black serpent's actions had repeatedly refreshed his worldview. He even began to suspect that there was a human soul with rich combat experience in the black serpent's body. Lin Yuan's tail strike had almost broken one of its arms. The mountain-shaking ape roared angrily once again, its intact left hand fiercely smashing towards Lin Yuan's snake head. Pooh! Lin Yuan didn't have time to dodge, but he didn't allow himself to be slaughtered. He opened his bloody mouth and spat out a thick water column. The water column was compressed under the high pressure in his mouth, and its impact was definitely not much weaker than the battering rams used to ram the city gates. Su Nan had no doubt that if he were to collide head-on with this water pillar, he would probably be smashed into pieces. However, this level of water column was completely child's play for a Class 7 monster like the mountain-shaking ape that specialized in defense. It was just that the timing of Lin Yuan's attack was too good, and the angle of the spray was too tricky. Even the mountain-shaking ape, who had rich combat experience, could only take a few steps back and close its eyes, afraid that the water column that Lin Yuan spat out would hurt its eyes. Let's see if you can get angry. Lin Yuan took advantage of the situation to get close again, using the front half of his body and the snake head as support. The thick snake tail constantly swung, whipping the mountain-shaking ape that had closed its eyes and retreated. While swinging the snake tail, it also added a tail strike with true damage from time to time. The tall and sturdy mountain-shaking ape simply couldn't dodge. Lin Yuan's snake tail whipped open its skin and flesh. It kept roaring angrily, but it could only be infuriated because Lin Yuan's attack speed was too fast. Not to mention counterattacking Lin Yuan. It couldn't even get out of Lin Yuan's attack range. At this moment, the mountain-shaking ape hated Lu Hu to death. It hated him more than the monster slayer masters who had caused it to fall to this point. If Lu Hu hadn't injured its arm, and if this black snake hadn't seized the opportunity, how could it have been in such a sorry state? Roar! The mountain-shaking ape suddenly raised its left hand and swung away Lin Yuan's snake tail. It took a deep breath and let out a loud roar at Lin Yuan. A terrifying wind swept over along with the pungent smell, forcing Lin Yuan to retreat several meters before stabilizing his body. What the F***ck? After stabilizing his body, Lin Yuan suddenly opened his snake eyes wide and looked at the mountain-shaking ape in disbelief. In its left hand, a 6-meter-long stone staff was condensed from the mountain stone elements, and it wasn't much thinner than Lin Yuan's snake body at the moment. Pole vaulting in the latrine pit, you've gone too far. Lin Yuan took a deep breath and felt that his whole snake body was in a bad mood. While they were fighting, the other party had directly used its weapon. How was he going to continue this fight? Seeing that Lin Yuan had the intention to retreat, the mountain-shaking ape suddenly opened its mouth, revealing 2 rows of neat and sharp white teeth. It seemed to be laughing. Just you wait, Lin Yuan said ruthlessly in his heart, and then rushed toward the direction of the lake very willingly. In his current state, he could still fight hand-to-hand with the mountain-shaking ape, but the stone staff in the mountain-shaking ape's hand was definitely not something he could hit with his snake body. If he made a mistake and got hit, he would probably be seriously injured even if he didn't die. How could the mountain-shaking ape's name, mountain-shaking ape, be undeserved? Seeing that Lin Yuan was about to run, the mountain-shaking ape was immediately unhappy. Just now, when Lin Yuan had the upper hand, he didn't show any mercy. When he crazily swung his snake tail, his moves were also extremely insidious. He couldn't wait to hit the wound on the mountain-shaking ape's right arm every time he swung his tail. Now that the mountain-shaking ape had taken out its big stick, Lin Yuan wanted to slip away when he saw that he was about to be beaten. How could there be such a good thing? Boom, boom, boom. The mountain-shaking ape stood up and held the stone staff in his left hand. His footsteps were swift as if he was flying. At the same time, he constantly waved the stone staff, trying to hit Lin Yuan in front of him. However, Lin Yuan's movements were extremely detailed, almost flying in ant's shape. The mountain-shaking ape's probing attacks couldn't touch him at all. Chapter 38. In the end, the mountain-shaking ape failed to stop Lin Yuan. After all, the agility of the two on flat ground was completely incomparable. Lin Yuan's catapulted start was much more advantageous than the mountain-shaking ape's running. Dong, dong, dong. The mountain-shaking ape constantly uprooted trees and threw them at Lin Yuan like javelins. However, this seemingly furious mountain-shaking ape did not make the same mistake as the Horse King. It stomped its feet on the shore, but refused to enter the water. This was because it knew that it could not exert 80% of its strength underwater. Even waving the stone staff was extremely difficult. However, the black snake could move freely underwater, and could even mobilize the water to attack it. Of those who could become the Beast King in the Hengduan Mountains, none of them were free. Lin Yuan crazily swam upstream along the waterfall. In the blink of an eye, he returned to his lair. He coiled on the boulder across the big waterfall and coldly looked at the exposed mountain-shaking ape, Lu Hu, who was waiting for death, and Su Nan, who was trembling. His mind was spinning quickly, thinking about the next countermeasures. The mountain-shaking ape with the stone stick was obviously not to be trifled with. It was definitely not an existence he could contend with now. Fortunately, there was no way to end the snake. His current means could not deal with the mountain-shaking ape. Didn't he still have 2 skill draws? What if he gambled a powerful skill? With a thought, 3 perceptual light spots suddenly appeared in Lin Yuan's sea of consciousness. Skill Tail Strike Enhancement. Your body is larger, and a casual movement can bring destruction. Now a full swing of your snake tail is enough to split mountains. After activating this skill, your next tail swing will add 2 points of true damage. When the snake tail falls on the target, it will cause a second shock damage. If the snake tail does not hit the target and falls on the ground, it will cause a small earthquake covering a range of 300 meters. Skill, stealth. As a snake, you are a natural assassin. When you are still, even the best hunter in the jungle will find it difficult to detect your tracks. After activating this skill, you can stay still for 30 seconds to achieve the effect of invisibility. You can move slowly, but your attacks or violent movements will cause the stealth skill to lose its effectiveness. Skill, extreme cold. As you control the water flow, you will often feel that the water flow is too mild. Without a certain amount or speed, the water flow alone is not enough to cause fatal damage to the enemy. After this skill is activated, it can increase the host's affinity towards ice and frost. When using water-type skills, the host will be able to add an additional freezing effect. The three skills appeared in Lin Yuan's perception, making it difficult for him to choose. There was no need to consider strengthening Tail Strike for the time being. This was because the skill itself was frightening enough. Not only would it increase true damage, but it would also cause a shock effect. It was a skill that would only become stronger as his strength increased. There was no way it would be eliminated. As for the remaining two skills, they could be considered as extremely important skills. After all, the effects of a water column and an icicle were completely different. For example, a demonic beast like the mountain-shaking ape could easily block Lin Yuan's water column. But what if he used an icicle instead? That wasn't something that could be solved by taking a few steps back. As for the importance of concealing his presence, it went without saying. He wasn't the kind of snake that would have a hard time catching prey without concealing himself. After all, his speed was very high. There weren't many demonic beasts that could outrun him. Even the mountain-shaking ape, which was close to the 10th rank, couldn't catch up to him. However, as his strength increased, Lin Yuan's body would also grow bigger. When that time came, the demon slayer who hunted demonic beasts for a living would definitely not let him go. The 8th rank Lu, who already brought him a lot of pressure. If another demon slayer came to hunt him, it was very likely that an existence above the 10th rank would appear. After thinking for a moment, Lin Yuan merged his consciousness with the light representing extreme cold. To put it bluntly, the conflict between the demon slayer and the demonic beasts was unavoidable. However, that was a matter for the future. Currently, Lin Yuan was facing a huge problem. If Lin Yuan couldn't deal with the mountain-shaking ape before the system's patience reached its limit, the system had already marked out the consequences in the mission punishment. The system didn't give him a time limit, but it did give him a punishment for failure. This wasn't a good thing. Judging from the system's Russian doll character, it was most likely up to no good. Suddenly, Lin Yuan felt his vision blur. He blinked subconsciously, and his vision became clear again. Lin Yuan opened his bloody mouth and spat out a gust of white cold air. The speed of the waterfall around him slowed down a bit. Using his innate skill of water manipulation, he summoned a ball of clear water in front of him. At the same time, he activated the extreme cold skill. The ball of water immediately condensed into a translucent crystal in front of Lin Yuan, reflecting Lin Yuan's current appearance. It seemed that he hadn't changed much from before. However, his vertical pupils, which took up 2/3 of his head, had changed from black and white to a pair of blue and white vertical pupils. Lin Yuan couldn't see any fluctuations of emotion in these vertical pupils. Activating his innate skill, the crystal in front of him began to transform and disintegrate, forming a fancy-looking weapon. The snake's tongue was no longer red like before, but more like a snowy white. However, Lin Yuan's scales were still pitch black, and didn't change to white or blue, because of the extreme cold skill. In the innate skill window, there was an additional parenthesis, water/ice, behind the water manipulation skill. After roughly understanding the changes brought about by this innate skill, Lin Yuan gave up on the idea of continuing to draw skills. His blue and white vertical pupils stared at the enraged ape of the mountains below. "You're F***king copying, aren't you? Come, let's see who has more guys." Light feather activated again, and Lin Yuan directly jumped down from the stone platform, gliding towards the ape of the mountains. Roar! The ape of the mountain's eyes suddenly revealed a look of excitement. It turned sideways and aimed in the direction of Lin Yuan. Its left hand clenched the stone club, and it assumed a baseball stance. It seemed that it intended to send Lin Yuan flying with the club. Kacha! Kacha! At this moment, the originally incomparably tranquil lake suddenly began to tremble. Water separated from the lake and floated in the air. Then, under the incredulous gazes of Su Nan and the ape of the mountains, the water quickly froze into ice, turning into weapons that Su Nan had never seen before. Swords, spears, clubs, axes, hooks, forks, all 18 types of weapons were present. Moreover, there were more than 50 of them. Chapter 39. The mountain-shaking ape lowered its body slightly, exposing its fangs outside of its mouth, and let out a low roar of unknown meaning. The instinct of the beast was reminding it that this black snake was far stronger than it had imagined. Su Nan was also stunned for a moment, not knowing how to evaluate the sudden change in the wind direction. In the world of demonic beasts, the law of the jungle was always the unchanging truth. Even if a lion in its prime was hunting a little white rabbit with almost no fighting power, it would not hesitate to use its full strength. Words like hiding one's strength and holding back often appeared in human society. Perhaps higher-level demonic beasts would also learn similar actions from humans. However, in the battle between low-level demonic beasts, they often wished they could use 120% of their strength, resulting in a fierce fight between bites and claws. This black snake was actually still hiding its strength until now? The black snake was still gliding slowly in the air, but the blades formed by the ice of the lake brought along a sharp sound as they slammed into the huge body of the mountain-shaking ape. Seeing the ice weapons surrounding the mountain-shaking ape and constantly strangling it, Su Nan inexplicably thought of the words of the storytellers in the big cities who praised the top human experts. The existence of that level could scatter countless sword shadows with a raise of their hands, easily tearing everything in front of them into pieces. Although the black snake's method of condensing water into ice was far from the power of the legends, it inexplicably reminded Su Nan of the powerful figures of the human race. Countless sharp icicles cut the body of the mountain-shaking ape. Even if the mountain-shaking ape waved the stone stick in its hand and broke all the ice weapons close to it, it was useless, because the broken ice would quickly condense into smaller and sharper icicles, once again joining the ranks of strangling it. Even the surrounding ground was covered with all kinds of sharp icicles. Every time the mountain-shaking ape was forced to retreat by the ice blade storm, a few icicles would be embedded in the soles of its feet. Just as the mountain-shaking ape was still struggling with the ice blade storm, Lin Yuan had already glided to a place more than 10 meters behind it and stabilized its body. The blue-white vertical pupils faintly overflowed with cold air, and the thick snake tail once again turned into a black whip shadow, smashing towards the mountain-shaking ape in front of it. The constantly rotating ice blade storm was like a loyal guard who made way for the king. When it was about to touch Lin Yuan's tail, it dodged in all directions. Boom! The black snake tail smashed down, but it did not hit the back of the mountain-shaking ape. Instead, it hit the ground. After all, it was a demonic beast close to LV-10 in the past. Even if it was seriously injured, the mountain-shaking ape's combat experience was extremely sharp. At the moment when the ice blade storm behind it stopped strangling, the mountain-shaking ape had already made a dodging posture, and even threw the indestructible stone stick in its hand, directly to the front, penetrating the strangling range of the ice blade storm. The mountain-shaking Lin Yuan's blue-white snake pupils suddenly flashed a touch of light. The ground under the snake tail cracked inch by inch, and directly caved in. A large amount of lake water almost instantly poured into the pit made by Lin Yuan. This is a trap? From Su Nan's point of view, the black snake's tail smashed the ground, and the ground suddenly caved in, revealing the pit that had been filled with lake water below, while the mountain-shaking ape that rushed out plunged into the lake water. Before the mountain-shaking ape could struggle, the ice blade storm that strangled it scattered by chance, turning into ice chips all over the ground. However, the water where the mountain-shaking ape was in instantly solidified into a huge ice block, firmly imprisoning the mountain-shaking ape in it. Only the mountain-shaking ape's head was exposed, and it was shivering in the surrounding cold air. While fighting head-on with the mountain-shaking ape, it secretly set up a trap. Before the rhythm of the battle entered the stage where the two beasts fought to the death, it used the lake water and ice to control the mountain-shaking ape. The ferocious mountain-shaking ape, in front of this black snake with extraordinary intelligence, did not have any advantage at all. Ding! Congratulations to host for completing the mission, the one and only king. The reward is being calculated. Ding! Congratulations to host for obtaining 3 attribute points. Ding! Congratulations to host for obtaining a random system template X1. Ding! Congratulations to host. Within a radius of 500 miles, there are no demonic beasts of level 5 and above that dare to be your enemy. The second stage of the battle for the Nest mission, the name of the Mountain Master, has been completed. The reward is being calculated. The calculation is complete. In this mission, host killed a total of 6 green main wind stepping foals, 2 green main wind stepping foals, 1 green main wind stepping foal king, and 1 mountain shaking ape. Completion rate is 100%. Mission evaluation is A. The reward is being obtained. Ding! Congratulations to host for obtaining 1 attribute point. Ding! Congratulations to host for obtaining a proficiency level template. After defeating the mountain-shaking ape, a series of system notifications rang out. Lin Yuan's initial joy gradually turned into sadness. As expected of the Russian Matryoshka doll system, one trap after another. When the second wave of demonic beasts was lured away by Su Nan, Lin Yuan was still feeling pleased with himself. He felt that he had found a loophole in the system. In the future, he might be able to complete many missions with the help of external forces, saving him time and effort. Who would have thought that when the mission was being calculated, the system would give Lin Yuan a tight slap across the face? After completing the first stage of the mission effortlessly, the second wave of demonic beasts did not bring any benefits to Lin Yuan. What the F***ck is this? Forget it, I should have understood the principle of the more you work, the more you get. Lin Yuan coiled up his snake body and used his mind to ask again, System, can you explain what this template is? Huh. The system's synthesized voice rang out again. However, just this was enough for Lin Yuan to hear the endless disdain and doubt in the system's voice. After a while, the system slowly replied. The host can't be so naive as to think that the system only has these insignificant abilities that you have seen so far, right? For example, after the host completes the Battle of the Nest's mission, the proficiency level template obtained can be directly used to increase the host's martial arts, cultivation methods, skills, talents, and other cultivation progress. This can greatly reduce the host's time in this aspect, and allow the host to complete the advancement in the shortest time possible. The atmosphere suddenly became a little awkward. Other than when Lin Yuan had just obtained the golden body technique and tried to cultivate it once, he had been busy with the ridiculous missions that the system had given him. Therefore, Lin Yuan had not had the chance to cultivate the technique, and had even forgotten about it. Chapter 40. Host, Lin Yuan status. Big Black Snake Evolvable, Realm, 7 out of 10 talent. 1. Identify the enemy's position by smell, cannot be advanced. 2. Form an accurate image of a 500-meter radius around the body by smell, 0/103. Water/ice control, 0 out of 100 speed. 11+1 defense, 10+1 attack, 11+1 assignable points. For martial arts, golden body secrets 0/25 skills, 1. Strangle 0 out of 102. Venom enhancement 0 out of 103. Tail strike 0 out of 100. Item. Light feather random system template X1 skill draw number. 1. Looking at the new values that appeared on the attribute panel, Lin Yuan felt his heart beating violently. The huge snake body trembled slightly, and Lin Yuan asked excitedly, System, the advancement of golden body secrets only requires me to invest 25 attribute points. The current level of golden body secrets is relatively low. Every time the host invests an attribute point, it can refine a 1-meter golden body. The host's body is currently about 25 meters long, So golden body secrets can only be invested with 25 attribute points for the time being. In addition, the system kindly reminds the host to have a sense of propriety when dreaming. As if it was stunned by Lin Yuan's daydream, even the system was silent for a while before the synthesized electronic voice sounded again. Is there any other way to increase proficiency other than investing attribute points? Lin Yuan was splashed with a basin of cold water by the system, but he quickly recovered. According to his original cultivation method, even if he ate all the demonic beasts in this area, the energy produced in his body might not be enough to refine his 25-meter snake body. Now he only needed 25 attribute points. In other words, without any mission rewards or heavenly treasures, he would be able to complete the first stage of the golden body technique by killing 25 level 7 demonic beasts. What else could he hope for? The host can also increase proficiency when cultivating by himself, or using skills on opponents of the same level or higher level. The system was not stunned by Lin Yuan's daydream this time, and quickly gave an answer. Lin Yuan secretly clicked his tongue. Originally, when a proficiency model was released, he thought that the system was going to change. He didn't expect it to be a scam. The proficiency he used before unlocking the model was not included in the calculation. Everything had to start from scratch. Oh right, how do I unlock the system model? Lin Yuan suppressed the miscellaneous emotions in his heart and asked the most important question seriously. Although Lin Yuan was only looking at the big picture at the moment, he had seen the benefits of the system's unlocked templates. Naturally, he was very eager about this matter. When the host's strength reaches a certain level, the system will naturally unlock a new model. Alternatively, the host can draw unlimited items or give them to the host through mission rewards. Lin Yuan's forked tongue flickered. He didn't ask the system any more questions. Instead, he sank into deep thought. Although everything had been settled, Su Nan and the mountain-shaking ape were still alive. In addition, Lu Hu, who was still using his own vital energy to resist Lin Yuan's poison, was still alive. Lin Yuan had to think about how to deal with these three. There was no need to say anything more about Lu Hu. Either way, he was going to die. This person was the slave of the Lu clan who had been drooling over him. If he allowed Lu Hu to leave this place alive, who knew what kind of existence would come looking for trouble the next time? As for Su Nan, such a sinister villain could be used well, but unfortunately, Lin Yuan could not communicate with other species, let alone communicate with other species. He could not even communicate with his own kind. After careful consideration, Lin Yuan decided to take a gamble and directly drew the skill. After 4 consecutive skill draws, Lin Yuan already had a preliminary understanding of the system's function. In addition to some skills produced by the system, some of Lin Yuan's own thoughts could also affect the result of the skill draw. For example, when he killed the 2-headed gray eagle, the system detected the desire in Lin Yuan's heart and created a mutated skill to tempt Lin Yuan. Also, when he drew the skill the last time, the system also detected that Lin Yuan didn't want to fight with the high-level human experts for the time being, so it created a stealth skill. These skills seemed to be very useful, but in fact, they were still the system's pitfalls. A skill that he didn't know what kind of mutation it would produce, and a skill that seemed very useful, but didn't have the slightest use in the situation at that time. Compared to the other skills, it was simply a wrong answer that looked like the standard answer. But this time, Lin Yuan planned to use this loophole in the system to take a gamble. It didn't matter if he lost the gamble. At worst, he could just kill all 3 of them. He could even recover a wave of attribute points to stop his loss. Skill, scale armor. After seeing the golden dragon saber in Lu Hu's hand and the stone staff in the mountain-shaking ape's hand, you have deep doubts about your own defense. This skill is a passive skill. After the host selects it, the host will undergo a molting. The new skin will become hard scales, and it will be difficult for ordinary swords to damage it. Dissolving poison. As a gigantic serpent, your venom is of little value to you. After choosing this skill, you can dissolve your venom into any liquid. Even the lake you are in, as long as you are willing, and with enough time, you can turn it into a poisonous pond that is a forbidden zone for life. Skill. Spirit of all things. You have now become the new Beast King, but a Beast King has always been a role model. There is no need for you to do everything by yourself. Therefore, how to communicate with your subordinates has become the most troublesome problem for you. After obtaining this skill, you can communicate with any sentient creature. Success. Seeing the 3 new skills that had been refreshed, Lin Yuan's face immediately showed a hint of joy. This round of skill selection could be said to be good or bad. After all, the scale armor and dissolving poison skills were dispensable to him. Especially the scale armor skill. When the golden body secrets was cultivated to the peak, he could completely become invulnerable to swords and spears, water and fire. Then why would he want a scale armor that was difficult to be damaged by ordinary swords? After selecting the spirit of all things skill, Lin Yuan suddenly felt his mind suddenly shake. It was as if a large amount of information had suddenly entered his mind, causing his brain to shut down a little. The scene in front of him was a little blurry. Shaking his huge snake head, he regained his clarity. Lin Yuan once again froze the ice that was controlling the mountain-shaking ape. Just a moment ago, Lin Yuan almost let the mountain-shaking ape break free from its current restraint. "Let me go, you disgusting long worm." The mountain-shaking ape roared again, but this time when the roar fell into Lin Yuan's ears, it was clearly translated into a meaning that Lin Yuan could understand. "Shut up." Spitting out the snake tongue, Lin Yuan raised his snake head and looked down at the mountain-shaking ape trapped in the ice. Chapter 41. Lin Yuan's snake hiss fell into the mountain-shaking ape's ears, and it immediately understood what he meant. The latter was slightly startled, obviously in a state of shock. Although the mountain-shaking apes were a group of demonic beasts with a very high growth limit, before they surpassed level 10, they could only communicate with the apes within their group. Therefore, it had never thought that this black snake could understand the meaning of its roar. Now, its life and death were all in the black snake's hands, and it still insulted the other party as a disgusting long worm. In an instant, the mountain-shaking ape felt his entire body turn cold, even colder than the ice around him. "I defeated you. In the future, I will be the only Beast King in this area. You, as my defeated opponent, will be my subordinate in the future." Lin Yuan didn't care about the mountain-shaking ape's insults. Instead, he tried his best to maintain a friendly attitude while communicating with the other party. It was just 1 or 2 insults. In his previous life, everything he experienced was countless times worse than a few insults, but he still endured it, didn't he? A monster with a growth limit of level 10, and a huge group behind it. All of these were resources that could be used in Lin Yuan's eyes. Impossible. We, the mountain-shaking ape clan, can die in battle, but we will never surrender. The mountain-shaking ape growled again, as if to prove its words. Even if it was controlled by Lin Yuan in the ice, it still struggled violently. Although the ice was cracked everywhere, the frozen flesh was also torn off a large piece. According to this extent of struggle, it was hard to say whether the mountain-shaking ape could break free from the ice, but it could definitely kill itself. Whoosh! With a sharp sound of something breaking through the air, a pitch-black, sharp snake tail suddenly appeared, hanging in front of the mountain-shaking ape. Lin Yuan said slowly, "If you are willing to be used by me, I can find a way to heal your injuries, let you return to the depths of the Hengduan Mountains, and let your tribe accept you again. What you have to pay is just to do something that you can for me before I heal you." Upon hearing Lin Yuan's enticement, the mountain-shaking ape's struggles gradually weakened. Compared to humans, a demonic beast with some intelligence was still a lot more immature. For example, when an ordinary beast king absorbed the demonic beasts in their territory for their own use, it was nothing more than wanting to beat the other party into submission. However, Lin Yuan's words pierced the softest part of the mountain-shaking ape's heart. Heal his injuries and return to his race. These 2 points were unimaginably tempting to the exiled mountain-shaking ape. That's impossible. Even Lord Sage couldn't do anything about those injuries. How could a long, black snake like you possibly do it? The mountain-shaking ape pursed his lips, and there was already a hint of interest in his eyes. "You and I are both demonic beasts. We don't play the hypocritical tricks of humans. Demonic beasts don't lie to other demonic beasts. 2 years at most. If I can't heal your injuries, you can do whatever you want with me. Lin Yuan stared at the mountain-shaking ape in front of him with a burning gaze, once again increasing the temptation. Ding. Congratulations to the host. You have touched the desire of the mountain-shaking ape and activated the special mission, Demon Beast's Oath. Name, Demon Beast's Oath. Description. Although demonic beasts live in the jungle where the strong preys on the weak, the bonds between their race and their companions are exceptionally strong. Most demonic beasts value their own promises very much. Please follow your own oath and heal the injuries of the mountain-shaking ape within 2 years, and help it return to the mountain-shaking ape's race. Mission reward. The friendship of the mountain-shaking ape race, and the eternal loyalty of the mountain-shaking ape Batu. Failure punishment. The system will imprison the host and let the mountain-shaking ape Batu do whatever he wants with you. Damn it. Lin Yuan was shocked. He never thought that he would actually trigger a special mission from the system just by tricking the mountain-shaking ape to work for him. This was definitely the system deliberately tricking him. Okay, Batu believes you. Demonic beasts don't lie to other demonic beasts. The mountain-shaking ape grinned at Lin Yuan and roared cheerfully. From now on, Batu will help you. If you can't fulfill your promise in 2 years, Batu will tear you apart. Ding. Congratulations to the host. The contract is completed. Ding. Congratulations to the host. You have obtained the temporary loyalty of the mountain-shaking ape Batu. 2 years. The facial nerves of a snake were not as rich as those of a human, and even less than those of a Batu. Moreover, Lin Yuan was originally a black snake. Otherwise, anyone could easily see that Lin Yuan's face was so gloomy that it was almost dripping water. This story told Lin Yuan that in the future, he should not make verbal promises casually. Otherwise, the system would tell him what was cruel. However, 2 years was 2 years. With the help of the system, he would undoubtedly grow to an extremely terrifying level in 2 years. No matter how difficult the injuries on Batu's body were, with his strength at that time and the power of the system, could it not be healed? With a thought, Lin Yuan released the ice that imprisoned Batu. Twisting his snake body, Lin Yuan came in front of Su Nan. The snake's head was slightly lowered, only 2 meters away from Su Nan. As long as the snake gently rolled its tongue, Su Nan would be swallowed into its mouth and chewed into a pile of mincemeat. Su Nan. Lin Yuan slowly said. You called me. Suddenly hearing someone call his name, Su Nan's body trembled. He raised his head in disbelief and looked at the blue-white eyes of the black snake in front of him. Just now, when the black snake and the mountain-shaking ape roared, he had an inexplicable feeling that these two incomparably terrifying beasts were communicating with each other. However, as soon as this thought arose, Su Nan threw it out of his mind. 2 Spirit Awakening stage demonic beasts, no matter how heaven-defying their combat strength and intelligence were, it was impossible for them to communicate like humans. Until now, the black snake had called out his name. Su Nan, you are a very smart person. I think you must have seen that I am extraordinary, right? Seeing that you are a promising talent, this seat will tell you the truth. I am the reincarnation of an ancient demonic emperor, and I am currently in the process of recovering my strength. In the near future, I will re-establish the ancient demonic court and unify the Hengduan mountain range. If you are willing to serve this seat will give you unimaginable benefits. Lin Yuan's voice rang out again, still like the whispers of a demon, leading the other party into the abyss of depravity. It was hard to say whether or not there was an ancient demonic court or demonic emperor in this world, but if Lin Yuan wanted to use his unfathomable mysteries to fool people, wouldn't it be easy for him to do so? As for betraying him? Haha. Lu Hu might betray him in order to serve the Lu clan, but for a selfish person like Su Nan, compared to serving the Lu clan or a human dynasty, his own benefits were far more important. Chapter 42. Lin Yuan coiled his snake body and quietly looked at Su Nan's back as he walked further and further away. Batu sat cross-legged on the side and looked at Su Nan's fleeting figure. He said in a low, muffled voice, "Boss, These humans are not worthy of trust. Their hearts are 100 times more vicious than the bone-rotting grass. If you let him go like this, you will definitely regret it in the future. Lin Yuan did not comment and slowly said, Batu, have you ever seen a poisonous snake allow others to trample on it and not retaliate? No, poisonous snakes are bad. When I was still a cub, there was a poisonous snake that wanted to eat me. Batu shook his huge head. His whole body exuded a silly temperament. The communication between demon beasts did not have the hypocritical polite words of humans. When Batu said these words, he did not consider that his new boss was also a poisonous snake. You go first. Come find me when you have recovered from your injuries. Lin Yuan was too lazy to argue with this silly fellow. He just waved his snake tail and signaled Batu to leave quickly. He still wanted to try out the new proficiency function of the system. Naturally, he could not do it in front of Batu. After all, Batu could not rely on his own strength to survive in the Hengduan mountain range because of his injuries. For the entire mountain-shaking ape clan, Batu was still their companion. This was unquestionable. A demon beast that was once close to level 10 came to the periphery of the Hengduan mountain range with injuries that affected his foundation. If not for the secret protection of the mountain-shaking ape clan, Batu would never have lived so comfortably. Even excluding Lin Yuan, who was an anomaly with the system, most demon beasts relied on devouring the flesh and blood of other demon beasts to evolve. Only a small number of demon beasts that were lucky and strong could become the guardian demon beasts of some spiritual objects. Strictly speaking, the current Lin Yuan was the guardian of the greenleaf aqua lotus. If Lin Yuan could live for 3,000 years, then he would be able to eat the greenleaf aqua lotus and obtain the opportunity to ascend. Lin Yuan guarded his own nest, which was also the green leaf water lotus. The danger involved was simply not something that an ordinary level 6 or level 7 demon beast could withstand. Not to mention that even the mountain-shaking ape was attracted. If Lin Yuan was just an ordinary black snake, at this moment, it was estimated that he would have been torn into pieces by Batu. The competition between demonic beasts was so fierce. Therefore Batu, who was seriously injured at that time, was definitely the meat of Tang Sung in the eyes of all the demonic beasts in this area. If it weren't for the secret protection of the mountain-shaking ape, this mountain-shaking ape, who was now the overlord, would have long become food in the stomach of others. Therefore, Lin Yuan neither wanted nor dared to gamble. If the mountain-shaking ape had any evil intentions, with Lin Yuan's current condition, his only choice was to abandon the nest that he had painstakingly guarded and flee to other areas. From Su Nan's words, Lin Yuan had a general understanding of this mountain-shaking ape tribe. It was said that they were a branch of a large tribe. They lived in the depths of the Hengduan mountains, but that was only relative. The weakest demonic beast that lived there was at least level 9 strength. It was said that demonic beasts of the wisdom state were not rare either. In that area, the mountain-shaking ape tribe was considered the absolute overlord. The nearest human city to Lin Yuan was called Mountain Blocking City. It was also the city where the Lu clan was located. The resident population there was about 300,000 to 600,000. Of course, most of the people who entered and left Mountain Blocking City were demon slayers of varying strengths. It was said that Mountain Blocking City was originally the largest demonic beast material trading market in the vicinity. Later on, it slowly became a city. With the strength of the mountain-shaking ape tribe, if they went all out, they would be able to destroy half of Mountain Blocking City in less than half a day. When Batu left, his footsteps still made thunderous sounds as he landed on the ground. His speed was extremely fast. In less than 30 steps, he disappeared from Lin Yuan's sense of smell. Lin Yuan let out a long breath. Twisting his snake body, he leisurely returned to the lake. He landed his body in the deep water area where undercurrents were surging. Only then did he call up the system's proficiency model. Ding. Congratulations to host for killing level 8 wild monster Lu Hu. Reward, 2 attribute points. At this moment, the true Qi in Lu Hu's body was completely exhausted. He was instantly killed by Lin Yuan's snake venom. A fresh life was turned into 2 attribute points on Lin Yuan's interface. Lin Yuan did not feel guilty about this at all. He only sneered in his heart. After placing 1 attribute point into the golden body secrets, A warm current began to flow within Lin Yuan's body. It turned into pure energy and was refined into Lin Yuan's flesh. Lin Yuan slightly glanced to the side. The water around him instantly froze, forming a sparkling and translucent ice crystal mirror. Lin Yuan's 25-meter-long snake body was reflected in the mirror. The strengthening effect of the golden body secrets was very ideal. Lin Yuan's tail was 1 meter above the tip. All of it had turned into a dark gold color. Swinging his dark gold snake tail, Lin Yuan instantly tore a 3-meter-deep hole in the already muddy soil. From start to finish, the muddy soil did not bring any resistance to Lin Yuan. Amazing! Lin Yuan calmed his twisting snake body. His vertical pupils shone brightly. He originally thought that the golden body secrets was an amazing martial art. Now it seemed that he had underestimated it. This was not just a defensive martial art. On a giant snake like Lin Yuan, it could also be used as a main attack method. In the past, Lin Yuan's snake tail only relied on the strength of his body to resist the enemy. But now, as long as he used the golden body secrets, his snake tail would become the sharpest spearhead in the world. Other than the simplest whipping and smashing, Lin Yuan could even use his snake body to display spear techniques. Strike while the iron is hot. Lin Yuan once again put 1 attribute point into the proficiency of the golden body secrets. It was still the same warm current that flowed through his body. As a cold-blooded animal, Lin Yuan enjoyed this warm feeling very much. But when the warm current was refined into his body, the joy in Lin Yuan's eyes was swept away. System, your uncle. Angry curses followed closely behind. Because the body tempered by the golden body secrets was not like what Lin Yuan had imagined. Starting from the tip of his tail, and tempering it meter by meter. This time, what was being tempered was 1 meter below Lin Yuan's 7 inches. It did not have any attack power, nor did it cover his 7 inches, which was his biggest weakness. The 25-meter-long snake body had 2 completely unconnected parts that were dark gold in color. It looked a little funny. Although Lin Yuan had already gotten used to his identity as a demonic beast, he had never imagined that a giant snake could look good. But at the very least, it should not look funny, right? The system did not respond to Lin Yuan. It seemed to be satisfied with its own bad taste, hiding at the side and laughing secretly. Chapter 43. Time was like flowing water, passing by bit. In the blink of an eye, more than half a month had already passed. Lin Yuan was coiled up on a huge rock that stretched across the waterfall, lazily basking in the sun. As a cold-blooded animal, even if Lin Yuan had become a monster with extraordinary strength, he still could not overcome the drawbacks that nature brought to him. His body did not have the ability to regulate his body temperature. If he did not take advantage of the sun to come out and bask in the sun, the cold blood flowing in his body would completely freeze his snake body. Perhaps in the not-too-distant autumn and winter, Lin Yuan would have to be like a normal snake and find a safe place to hibernate. Batu and Lu Hu, who could be considered top-notch opponents to the current Lin Yuan, were still unable to take his life. Therefore, he increasingly did not want to sleep and be frozen into a snake corpse. During this period of time, there were no powerful monsters that entered Lin Yuan's territory, nor were there any spirit items that suddenly grew within the range of Lin Yuan's perception. Therefore, there were no missions from the system that were activated. However, during this half a month of rest, Lin Yuan did not completely stand still. This was because he could follow the circulation pattern of the golden body secrets, slowly absorbing the surrounding Ling Qi of heaven and earth, and then converting the Ling Qi of heaven and earth into attribute points. This could also be considered a kind of disguised training, even though he completely could not experience things like meridians or dantian. His attribute points were slowly increasing at a weak rate of 0.0001 per minute. Even if he absorbed the surrounding Ling Qi of heaven and earth without rest for an entire day, he would only be able to accumulate 0.144 attribute points. Moreover, he could not absorb Ling Qi of heaven and earth without rest. With his current realm, not to mention fasting, even if he did not have enough sleep, he could be toyed to death by the strange physique of snakes. Perhaps he could only be completely free after he completed his evolution. This kind of training speed could not be considered slow. This was because he was still basking in the light of the greenleaf lotus. If he had left the vicinity of the greenleaf lotus, it would have been a miracle if he could absorb 0.0001 attribute points in half an hour. Batu, on the other hand, was still quietly recuperating. He seemed to be planning to carry out Lin Yuan's orders perfectly. Before he recovered from his injuries, he did not plan to appear in front of Lin Yuan. After all, the injuries that Lin Yuan had inflicted on him were not as simple as superficial wounds. The frostbitten flesh had already necrotized and had to be cut off and regrown. Opening his bloody mouth, Lin Yuan yawned lazily and murmured, "System, find something to do." After being left alone by the system for half a month, he really missed the ridiculous missions that the system had given him. Otherwise, with his current speed of improvement, it was really too slow. It had already been half a month. And other than investing a total of 7 attribute points into the golden body technique, there was no improvement in other aspects. Ding, 1,500 meters to the northeast, a Class 7 demonic beast has been discovered. Ding, 1,300 meters to the northeast, a Class 7 demonic beast has been discovered. Ding, 1,100 meters to the northeast, a Class 9 demonic beast has been discovered. Host, please reconsider before proceeding. 3 system notifications blasted out in a row. Lin Yuan's entire snake body froze in place. For the past half a month, he had to give the system these prompts every day, but the system had always ignored him. Until today, it suddenly gave him a Class 9 demonic beast. Turtle, turtle. Lin Yuan could not help but let out a cry of surprise. In terms of causing trouble, I, Lin Yuan, am willing to call your system the best. Don't care. Lin Yuan lazily turned over, and his white belly was facing up. A Class 9 demonic beast and a Class 7 demonic beast. Although this kind of combination was not common in this area, Lin Yuan had seen plenty of similar combinations. They were nothing more than the seniors from the sects and dojos in Mountain Blocking City bringing their disciples out for training, and letting them fight with demonic beasts of the same class to sharpen their combat experience. After all, although most of the demon slayers came from sects and dojos, their nature was similar to that of mercenaries. If 2 of their companions died on the way, there would be 2 fewer people to split the reward when the mission was completed. There was no such thing as holding the formation or passing down the legacy. Something seemed to be wrong. Lin Yuan's snake body trembled. He suddenly coiled up on the stone platform, and coldly looked in the northeast direction. With his lair as the center, the area within a radius of 500 li was his territory. Lin Yuan did not care about low-level demonic beasts. He would only occasionally eat a few to satisfy his appetite. Compared to other demonic beasts, Lin Yuan gave these low-level demonic beasts enough space to live. However, Class 7 demonic beasts were absolutely not allowed to appear in Lin Yuan's territory. Otherwise, Lin Yuan would regard them as demonic beasts that came to fight for territory. He would not give up until one of them was dead. Therefore, there was only one Class 7 demonic beast that dared to appear in Lin Yuan's territory, Batu. Taking a deep breath, Lin Yuan directly shot toward the northeast. A black shadow swept across the sky, sweeping up a large area of lake water under his body. It was an extremely shocking sight. Master, what kind of demonic beast is this? How can its skin be so rough and tough? I can't kill it no matter how hard I hit it. A young warrior in his 20s, wearing a golden robe, constantly waved the short-handled glaive in his hand. Rich true chi was attached to the edge of the glaive, fiercely chopping at the grimacing Batu. At the same time, on a big tree 200 meters away, a middle-aged man in a moon-white robe with his hands behind his back, who looked about 40 years old, chuckled and said in a deep voice, "Silly disciple, the one in front of you is not a simple character. It is the king of this area, the mountain-shaking ape that was exiled from the depths of the Hengduan mountain range. If it was in its heyday, even I would have to avoid it. I don't know who severely injured it. It should be us who picked up a windfall." As a primate demonic beast, Batu could actually understand human language. It was just that it had no way to communicate with humans. Even if its foundation was injured, a mere level 7 warrior could not suppress it in its heyday. If it did not have a divine weapon in its hand, even if it was a level 9 warrior, it would not take it seriously. However, at this moment, Batu had been rubbed on the ground by Lin Yuan. After recuperating for half a month, its injuries were not even half healed. It did not know what kind of bad luck it had encountered, but it was actually found out from its hiding place by a level 7 warrior. Roar! Batu stiffly waved the 6-meter stone staff in its hand, but its speed was several times slower than the glaive. It did not take long for the golden-robed young man to take advantage of it. Moreover, the golden-robed young man was extremely insidious. Almost every slash was aimed at the wounds on Batu's lower body. The level 9 warrior's eyes flickered with greed. If a wounded mountain-shaking ape fell into his hands, he would be able to double the profits of the martial arts club in Mountain Blocking City. What great luck! Seeing that Batu was unable to hold on, the greed in the level 9 warrior's eyes became even more intense. Chapter 44. It's a pity that you don't have the life to enjoy it. Suddenly, a cold voice rang in the ears of the level 9 warrior. Who's there? The level 9 warrior suddenly roared and subconsciously jumped hundreds of meters away. The big tree he was standing on collapsed with a loud bang, and more than 10 towering trees in the surrounding area didn't escape the misfortune. However, when these giant trees fell, they also raised a cloud of dust. It didn't reveal what attacked the area where he was standing just now. It was just that his combat instincts, honed over many years in the forest, reminded him that the other party seemed to be an extremely terrifying thing. Could it be that you injured this mountain-shaking ape? The level 9 warrior thought for a moment, and asked in a clear voice towards the place where the dust rose. He thought for a while. With such terrifying strength, the other party must be a well-known figure nearby. There was no reason that the other party didn't recognize him, and attacked without even communicating. This area was only the demon forest in the periphery. The strongest one was only a level 7 demon, but it could erupt with the strength of a level 9 demon. The wisdom state demon beasts had long gone deeper into the Hengduan mountain range. After all, the spiritual energy there was richer, and the spiritual items produced were better. Therefore, the level 9 warrior didn't think that the existence that could communicate with him would be a demon beast. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. A sharp sound of something breaking through the air sounded. Ice swords flew out from the dust cloud one after another. Good technique. It seems that you're not from Jiang Blocking City. Lu, the level 9 warrior, was shocked. He tried to get closer to him while dodging. I don't have time to remember the name of a dead person. That cold voice sounded once again. However, this time, the level 9 warrior clearly felt that something was wrong, because this cold voice wasn't heard by him at all. It was more like it appeared directly in his mind. What he heard was only a snake's hiss. Demon beast. A wisdom state demon beast. The level 9 warrior was scared out of his wits. His moon-white robe was instantly soaked in cold sweat. Whether it was the other party's method of condensing ice into swords or the ability to communicate with other creatures directly, it was exactly the same as the legendary wisdom state demon beasts. To be fair, so what if he was a level 9 martial artist? After all, the difference in physique was obvious. Without divine weapons or special secret techniques, human warriors would never be a match for demonic beasts of the same level. Even for demon slayers, most of them had to work together as a team, each performing their own duties to kill a demonic beast. Otherwise, they would still be chased by demonic beasts. With his current strength, he probably wouldn't even last 3 moves against a wisdom insight demonic beast. Senior, I didn't know that this mountain-shaking ape was your food. I apologize to you. The rank 9 martial artist cupped his fists in the direction of Lin Yuan and said in a clear voice, I am a consecrator of the Lu family of River Crossing City. If Senior is willing to let me go, I am willing to offer a considerable reward to Senior. Lin Yuan was completely unmoved. His huge snake body bounced over, and his thick snake tail smashed directly at the level 9 martial artist. So it's you. Seeing Lin Yuan reveal his true form, the level 9 martial artist's face revealed a look of horror once again. The psychic black snake's name could be said to be well known in River Crossing City, especially within the Liu family. After losing Liu Hu, an outstanding junior who was loyal to the Liu family and had entered level 8 at a young age, the Liu family's ancestor couldn't wait to eat this psychic black snake alive. But how long had it been? The level 7 black snake that Su Nan spoke of had turned into a wisdom insight demonic beast? No. The level 9 martial artist was unprecedentedly calm at this moment. He narrowed his eyes and carefully sized up the black snake that was rushing over. The 25-meter-long snake's body even left a faint afterimage as it slithered. The blood chi on its body was so dense that it almost soared into the sky. It was comparable to the famous demon slayers he had seen in River Crossing City, who were famous for their physique that was not inferior to demonic beasts of the same level. It seemed to be at this level, right? This black snake was indeed very strong, but not strong enough to make him despair. It was still a level 7 demonic beast. The level 9 martial artist's eyes were filled with even more greed than before. He licked his lips and said, "Your black snake has grown so fast that it must have killed a lot of people. As martial artists, we can't just stand by and watch a demonic beast like you wreak havoc. Today, I'm going to subdue you, this demonic snake." After confirming that the other party was only a level 7 demonic beast, the level 9 martial artist's confidence was unprecedentedly high. Even if demonic beasts were born much stronger than humans, the gap of 2 levels was definitely not that easy to cross. "Boss, don't worry about me. You go first." Bata shouted at Lin Yuan, while dodging the level 7 martial artist's Guandao. "Go your grandma's leg." Lin Yuan turned his head and glared at Batu. He almost couldn't help but spit at him. The system had deliberately called out the mission demonic beast's oath. It was undoubtedly to remind Lin Yuan that Bata's mission had not been completed. If Bata died in the hands of these 2 humans, the system would directly judge that Lin Yuan's mission had failed. He didn't want to experience the feeling of being torn apart by the mountain-shaking ape. What's more, Batu was his stepping stone to enter the depths of the Hengduan mountain range. He couldn't easily lose him here. Wasn't he just a level 9 martial artist? It wasn't like he couldn't kill him. Lin Yuan coiled his snake body and coldly sized up the level 9 martial artist who was slowly approaching him. In his heart, he was thinking about how to lead the battle so that he could unexpectedly rely on the tip of his tail strengthened by the golden body secrets to stab this shameless old man to death. The level 9 martial artist slowly approached Lin Yuan. At the same time, the white robe on his body suddenly shook and was directly torn apart by the vigorous true chi on his body, revealing a gray cloth bag tied behind his back. The level 9 martial artist shook the gray cloth bag in his hand, revealing 4 white bones that were at least 3 feet long. The 4 white bones were pieced together in order, forming a 12 feet long bone spear in the hands of the level 9 martial artist. The tip of the spear, which was polished from the bones of an unknown creature, was pointed at Lin Yuan, but it suddenly emitted a faint deterrent force. Batu and the level 7 martial artist seemed to turn a deaf ear to it. They were not affected by the deterrent force at all. However, Lin Yuan's pair of blue and white snake eyes suddenly widened. He looked at the level 9 martial artist in disbelief. Even his huge snake body was slightly shaking. "What is this thing?" Lin Yuan shook his snake head and tried to suppress the fear in his heart. However, his mind was still unable to concentrate. Those ice swords had even begun to shake, as if they would fall to the ground at any time. Chapter 45. Heh, so that kid's words were true. Are these bones really dragon bones? The level 9 martial artist waved the bone spear in his hand. Seeing the black snake trembling in fear, his confidence swelled again. The kid who sold him the 4 3-foot-long bones said that they were his family heirlooms, the dragon bones left behind by his ancestors. Any demon beast with the blood of the dragon clan in their body would fall into an uncontrollable fear after seeing the dragon bones. It was even possible that they would directly submit to the existence that held the dragon bones. The black snake's current actions should be due to the bone spear in his hand. System. What is that? Lin Yuan clenched his teeth, trying his best to keep his consciousness from becoming muddled. He expected that the humans of this world would have weapons that could easily kill monsters, but he never thought that the other party would be able to make him tremble from the bottom of his heart just by showing his weapon. The bones of the dove snake. The dove snake is an extremely rare monster. It was born with the head of a dragon, so the dove snake will think of ways to lay its snake eggs in the nest of the dragon clan. When the baby hatches, the dove snake will be raised by the dragon clan as its own offspring. However, the baby dove snake is vicious by nature. It will think of ways to kill the baby dragon in the same nest to gain more love from the mother dragon. In the following years, the dove snake will constantly demand from the mother dragon. When the mother dragon is exhausted, the dove snake will take the opportunity to devour the mother dragon's flesh and blood to become a dragon. What the host encountered was the bones of the dove snake. Although it did not successfully become a dragon, it grew up with the dragon clan since it was young, and its body was contaminated with a lot of dragon aura. It also has a great suppressive effect on the host's current black snake body. According to the information extracted from the host's consciousness, it can be called bloodline suppression. The system slowly responded, but did not provide any way to dispel this fear. So King disgusting. Lin Yuan cursed from the bottom of his heart. The theory in his previous life said that everything had a spirit. Any creature that came to this world was like a piece of white paper. It was just that the people and things they gradually came in contact with were like fuel, painting the white paper with different colors. However, the dove snake that the system mentioned completely shattered his idea. Instead of repaying the kindness of being nurtured by the dragon clan, he wanted to kill the other children of the dragon clan, and even tried to devour the flesh and blood of the mother dragon. All of this was just to transform himself into a dragon. Black Snake, although I don't know what mysteries you have, you are already under my control. If you are willing to give up struggling, I can give you a quick death. How about it? The rank 9 martial artist chuckled and spun the bone spear in his hand, cautiously approaching Lin Yuan. Even a starving camel was still bigger than a horse. There were too many mysterious things about this black snake, and the kid who sold him the dragon bone didn't seem like a good person either. Therefore, the level 9 martial artist was still very cautious at this moment, afraid that the black snake would suddenly jump up and destroy him. Lin Yuan shook his huge snake head and looked coldly at the approaching rank 9 martial artist. As the distance between the two got closer and closer, the bloodline suppression grew stronger and stronger. Lin Yuan's vision began to blur. When he looked at the level 9 martial artist, it was as if the other party had a clone. Whoosh! The level 9 martial artist flew up, and the dove snake bone spear in his hand suddenly pierced straight at Lin Yuan's head. Even though Lin Yuan had reacted the moment the other party jumped up, his snake body, which was usually very agile, became very heavy at this moment. Even if Lin Yuan used all his strength, he could only move his head back slightly by half an inch. The tip of the dove snake bone spear brushed past Lin Yuan's face, leaving a carrot-shaped wound. However, the flesh on Lin Yuan's face that was cut closed instinctively, and didn't let a single drop of blood flow out. TSK. The level 9 martial artist smacked his lips twice, as if he was disappointed that his spear didn't succeed. His body, which had already landed on the ground, jumped up again and pierced Lin Yuan's snake head with his spear again. You are courting death. A loud roar suddenly exploded in Lin Yuan's mind. Lin Yuan, who had fallen into a muddle-headed state because of the close contact with the dove snake bone spear, was suddenly awakened by this angry roar. Feeling the strong wind behind him, Lin Yuan suddenly lowered his snake body and dodged the level 9 martial artist's spear. What's going on? The level 9 martial artist and Lin Yuan asked almost at the same time. Of course, the level 9 martial artist was talking to himself, but Lin Yuan was asking the system. After all, the moment the roar exploded in his mind, Lin Yuan suddenly realized that the so-called dove snake bone spear was no longer a threat to him. You don't even know what kind of trash you are. How dare you steal my power? Aren't you afraid of bursting yourself? The system's emotionless electronic synthesized voice sounded, but Lin Yuan could hear the endless anger in it. After thinking carefully for a moment, Lin Yuan suddenly felt like laughing, but now that the system was angry, he didn't dare to laugh out loud. What kind of monster was the dove snake? It was an existence that could absorb the essence of a dragon's flesh and blood, and then convert it into its own aura, turning a snake demon into a dragon. The spear that had scratched Lin Yuan just now had only caused a flesh wound to Lin Yuan. Under the dove snake bone spear's stealing power, the system had obviously suffered a loss, so it changed its attitude of watching the show and woke Lin Yuan up. My dragon bones. The level 9 martial artist's trembling voice suddenly attracted Lin Yuan's attention. The bone spear that was pieced together by 4 dove snake bones was now filled with pitch-black cracks, as if it would shatter into pieces with just a light touch. Lin Yuan choked for a moment. It was hard to say how much power the dove snake bone spear had stolen from the system, but Lin Yuan had seen it with his own eyes. What did the system mean by bursting yourself? You compensate me for my dragon bones. The dove snake bone spear in the hands of the level 9 martial artist turned into fine powder and scattered with the wind, his dark face filled with heartache. Okay, I'll send you down to meet that disgusting dove snake. Lin Yuan opened his bloody mouth, revealing 2 sharp white poisonous fangs. Without the bloodline suppression of the dove snake bone spear, Lin Yuan was really not afraid of dealing with an empty-handed level 9 martial artist. Ah! The level 9 martial artist roared, and reached behind his waist to take out a pair of lantern-sized red rings. Other than the hands that were wrapped by an unknown thread, the rest of the rings were incomparably sharp edges. After practicing martial arts for more than 30 years, he had fought countless times. At this moment, he was clear that the black snake was injured, and he didn't have his dragon bones. The 2 of them had returned to a situation where neither of them had the upper hand, and both of them were full of hatred. They hadn't even started to fight, but they had already entered the deathmatch phase. Chapter 46. At the same time, mountain blocking city, in a small, remote courtyard, a tall and slender young man pushed the woman in his arms away. Suddenly, he turned his head to look in the direction of the demonic beast forest on the outskirts of the Hengduan Mountains. He opened his mouth and spat out a mouthful of black and red blood. The red blood came from the woman. There were 2 narrow bloody holes on her neck. The moment she fell to the ground, her body began to dry up, as if all the blood and water in her body had been sucked out. In the blink of an eye, she turned into a dried corpse that seemed to have been dead for countless years. The slender young man opened his mouth. A small snake with a body as black as ink poked out from his mouth. The young man's pupils instantly dimmed as if his soul had been sucked out. So the legend is true. There really is a psychic black snake in the demonic beast forest. It broke 4 of my bones in one breath. Heh, it actually has the potential to transform into a dragon. The small black snake opened its slender mouth and spoke in human language. A pair of bean-sized eyes flashed with an extremely cold light. Lin Yuan, who was confronting the level 9 warrior in the demonic beast forest, did not know that he had been targeted by an existence full of malice. At this moment, his mind was completely focused on the level 9 warrior in front of him. This was the first time he saw a real human expert in action. A pair of sharp metal rings rotated, stirring up a cold wind from time to time. Even Lin Yuan was driven by instinct to dodge. He did not dare to touch the cold wind with his snake body, because it was much more terrifying than the Horse King's wind blades. Moreover, it was everywhere. With the level 9 warrior as the center, the area within a radius of 5 meters was shrouded by the cold wind. The ice sword summoned by Lin Yuan was completely shattered as soon as it entered the range of the cold wind. When he tried to approach the opponent, he found that his snake body was constantly being cut by the cold wind, leaving deep wounds. A large amount of dark red snake blood overflowed from the wounds. Lin Yuan gritted his teeth and retreated. If his golden body secrets could temper his whole body, he would not have fallen into such a situation. It seems that you're just SOSO. The level 9 warrior laughed madly. Looking at the wounds on Lin Yuan's body that did not show any signs of healing, the level 9 warrior thought for a moment, then directly waved the metal ring in his hand and pounced on Lin Yuan, driving the surrounding cold wind like a big net. Although he had temporarily suppressed Lin Yuan, he was very clear in his heart that he had only borrowed external force. When the true qi in his body could no longer summon the cold wind through the metal ring, Lin Yuan would definitely not let him off easily. Looking at the approaching 9th rank warrior, Lin Yuan opened his mouth and spat out the lake water stored in his abdomen. It formed a high-pressure water column that fiercely crashed into the 9th rank warrior. However, even though it was an invisible water column, it was easily shattered by the cold wind. When it landed on the 9th rank warrior, all it did was wet his upper body. It's useless. You can't hurt me. The 9th rank warrior waved the metal ring in his right hand and rolled up a cold wind that directly crashed into Lin Yuan. However, this cold wind did not succeed in attacking Lin Yuan. After exceeding the range of 5 meters around the 9th rank warrior, it directly dissipated between heaven and earth. I see. Let's see how long you can last. Lin Yuan sneered and immediately twisted his snake body, once again distancing himself from the 9th rank warrior. He could now see that this strange cold wind was the means of the metal ring. Although it was an almost invincible ability, the range was firmly limited to 5 meters. As long as he did not enter this range, the cold wind could not do anything to him. Moreover, Lin Yuan could clearly feel that the 9th rank warrior's use of this pair of metal rings was extremely taxing. His movement speed was simply incomparable to when he was using the dove snakebone spear. At this moment, in Lin Yuan's eyes, the 9th rank warrior was really not much faster than a turtle. With such a huge weakness in front of him, if Lin Yuan did not know how to use it, then what was the difference between him and an ordinary monster? You. The 9th rank warrior looked at the retreating Lin Yuan and suddenly widened his eyes. Even if Lin Yuan's intelligence was extraordinary, he should not be so smart to this extent, right? Even the demonic beasts in the wisdom realm were at a disadvantage after countless clashes with humans. They had to learn from their mistakes bit by bit to train their intelligence to be on par with humans. When they first entered the wisdom realm, those demonic beasts only knew how to shout and kill. You can't touch me if you touch me, and I won't let you leave if you leave. Why don't you kill yourself? I can still leave you with a complete corpse. Lin Yuan's cold voice rang in the 9th rank warrior's mind again. You monster snake, you are simply wishful thinking. The 9th rank warrior was speechless. He kept waving the metal rings in his hand, trying to catch up to the retreating Lin Yuan. It would take at least 3 days to travel from Lin Yuan's lair to the nearest human gathering place. He could not keep running for 3 days in this state. Even if Lin Yuan did not make a move, he would be exhausted to death. At this point, one of them had to die here today to solve the problem. Umph. The 9th rank warrior snorted coldly. He gritted his teeth and said, Black Snake, you are indeed capable. Perhaps I can't do anything to you even if I risk my life. But I will definitely not let you have it easy. Don't you want to save this mountain-shaking ape? I will kill this guy in front of you. Let's see if you will make a move or not. As his voice fell, he strode directly toward the mountain-shaking ape. Lin Yuan stopped retreating and turned his head to look at Batu, who was still fighting with the 7th rank warrior. If Batu was still in his heyday, even if he was only in the realm of a level 7 monster beast, he would not be able to catch up with the speed of a level 9 warrior. But now Batu was seriously injured and entangled with a level 7 warrior. It was absolutely impossible to get away in a short time. What was worse was that once Batu died here, the mission would be automatically judged as a failure. Lin Yuan would also be buried with Batu. If he had known that this would happen, he would have killed Batu earlier. He would never have created the mission Demon's Oath. Now he was trapped in a cocoon of his own making. Lin Yuan gritted his teeth and twisted his snake body to meet the 9th rank warrior again. At the same time, he kept controlling the ice weapons to fly over to slow down the opponent. Ding. A Class 9 demonic beast has been discovered 1,100 meters to the southwest. The host should escape as soon as possible. Ding. 1,100 meters to the southwest. An intelligent demonic beast has been discovered. The host should escape as soon as possible. The system prompt sounded in Lin Yuan's ears. Lin Yuan suddenly stopped with a touch of joy in his eyes. It was hard to say how far this monster forest was from Mountain Blocking City, but it was definitely the outermost area of the Hengduan Mountains. Not only were low-level monsters rampant here, But there were also many wild beasts without cultivation. Chapter 47. The Hengduan mountain range was divided into areas according to strength. It was because beasts had to kill each other if they wanted to grow. Then, they had to devour each other's flesh and the phase guarded by each other. Only beasts that could survive under such a cruel law could gradually become stronger. Powerful beasts liked to walk into the depths of the Hengduan mountain range, because the low-level beasts and the phase produced in the periphery couldn't satisfy their needs at all. No matter how much they ate, it wasn't beneficial to them. Just like Lin Yuan at this moment, this area no longer had any attraction to him. Only a few wandering level 7 beasts would be targeted by him. The phase produced were even abandoned by the system. Even if they were right in front of him, it was too lazy to prompt because even if Lin Yuan ate them, those low-level phase wouldn't provide any attribute points. Even Lin Yuan, who was at the peak of level 7, was like this. A level 9 demonic beast and an intelligent demonic beast were even more unlikely to appear in such an area. Therefore, the appearance of these two demonic beasts was definitely for another purpose. After thinking about it, Lin Yuan could only think of Batu, the mountain-shaking ape. Compared to himself who had the system as his backer, Batu had a tribe that was enough to dominate the Hengduan mountain range. The growth limit of this kind of high-level beasts was extremely high. At the same time, the fertility rate was also pitifully low. Even if Batu had lost the potential to break through to the intelligent state or even higher, the mountain-shaking ape tribe only sent it to the periphery where it was more suitable for its survival. They definitely didn't intend to let it fend for itself. Otherwise, the friendship of the mountain-shaking ape tribe reward wouldn't appear in the mission reward. You will soon find out how stupid it is to threaten me with Batu. Lin Yuan flicked his tongue. Just now, the system still reminded that the two beasts were 1,100 meters away. At this moment, they had already appeared in the range of Lin Yuan's sense of smell. Their speed was so fast that it could almost be described as ghostly. Even with Lin Yuan's sense of smell, he could only capture two afterimages. Boom. Boom. Two muffled sounds exploded like thunder. Two mountain-shaking apes appeared behind Lin Yuan. One was a level 9 demonic beast with a height of nearly 200 feet, which was around 60 meters tall. The other mountain-shaking ape was in the wisdom realm. The system didn't give an introduction, and its height couldn't be compared to the other one. It was only around 2 meters tall, which was smaller than a normal ape. However, Lin Yuan felt an unparalleled power from this mountain-shaking ape. It was as if the other party only needed one punch to directly turn him into minced meat. The mountain-shaking ape of wisdom didn't walk on its own. Instead, it sat on the shoulder of the rank 9 mountain-shaking ape. From time to time, it sized up Lin Yuan and Batu, who was evenly matched with a rank 7 martial artist. Its eyes even revealed a hint of impatience. Humans, since when did you dare to openly hunt down members of my mountain-shaking ape clan? The mountain-shaking ape of wisdom slowly opened its mouth and asked in an indifferent tone. Could it be that you humans want to break the treaty and start a war with my mountain-shaking ape clan? A fine layer of cold sweat appeared on the forehead of the rank 9 martial artist. A rank 9 mountain-shaking ape was already in existence that could be smashed with one punch. Not to mention, this rank 9 mountain-shaking ape of wisdom was also carrying a mountain-shaking ape of wisdom that looked even smaller than a normal ape. However, its body had already condensed a demonic aura. My lord, I just want to deal with this demonic snake. The rank 9 martial artist didn't dare to be rash. He knelt on one knee and said in a clear voice, "This black snake killed the experts of my Lu clan. It took the initiative to start a feud with us. My lord, please understand. What happened in this demonic beast forest can't escape my eyes and ears. You don't have to use the Lu clan to pressure me. Back then, if not, forget it. In short, if my clan's Bata dies, the entire mountain-blocking city will have to be buried with him. Not to mention the insignificant Lu clan that you speak of. Do you really think you're something?" The mountain-shaking ape of wisdom spoke once again. An incomparably domineering aura instantly filled the air. Under the suppression of this domineering aura, Even Lin Yuan revealed a hint of fear in his eyes. It wasn't the feeling of being suppressed in his bloodline like before. Instead, it was the feeling of a herbivore encountering a carnivore. It was a shiver that came from the depths of his soul. He even had a feeling of escaping from this place at all costs. After calming himself down, Lin Yuan put away the snake's forked tongue and stopped spying on the other party. He communicated with his mind. "Senior, this person has entered my territory. Killing him is my duty. There's no need for Senior to do it. Senior just needs to bring Bata to a safe place." A rank 9 martial artist and a rank 7 martial artist. In Lin Yuan's eyes, they were at least 3 attribute points. If he could kill these two fellows, he would be able to refine his 3-meter-long snake body. Even if he encountered something like the ring next time, with the protection of the Golden Body Sutra, Lin Yuan would never be forced to retreat again. The mountain-shaking ape, who was at the wisdom state, exclaimed softly and looked at Lin Yuan with great interest. Batu had been defeated by the Black Snake, and had even become a subordinate of the Black Snake. When this news spread to the mountain-shaking apes tribe, it instantly became a disgrace to their tribe. Therefore, the matter of encountering a human attacking Bata today was actually just a coincidence. The ape's true purpose in coming to the demonic beast forest was actually to deal with this Black Snake. However, at this moment, it had changed its mind. A rank 7 martial artist was actually able to resist its aura, and even communicate with it in an orderly manner. Even some of the demonic beasts that had just entered the wisdom realm might not necessarily be able to do so. Moreover, since when were spirit awakening demonic beasts able to communicate with other demonic beasts using their minds? It pondered for a moment, and suddenly nodded with a smile. "Although I don't know where you came from, since you have such strength in the spirit awakening realm, perhaps in the future, you will be able to stand on the same level as me. You owe me for today's matter." As its voice fell, the rank 9 mountain-shaking ape suddenly stretched out its large hand and grabbed Batu, who was similarly suppressed by its aura, as easily as grabbing a doll. Then, it directly walked into the distance. Seeing this scene in front of him, a layer of cold sweat suddenly seeped out of the rank 9 martial artist's back. Lin Yuan and the mountain-shaking ape of wisdom were communicating with their minds, so naturally he couldn't hear it. After the mountain-shaking ape of wisdom left, he let out a long breath of turbid air, feeling that he had picked up his life. "Did you think that you had picked up your life?" Suddenly, a cold voice resounded in his mind once again. Only then did the rank 9 martial artist wake up as if from a dream. He instantly picked up his metal ring, and summoned the cold wind to protect his surroundings. It was true that the mountain-shaking ape of wisdom had left, but there was still a Black Snake eyeing him covetously. Chapter 48. You're just struggling at death's door. Lin Yuan coiled up his snake body. A mocking look appeared in his blue-white eyes. In the next moment, Lin Yuan's snake body shot out. Under the horrified gaze of the level 9 martial artist, Lin Yuan's snake tail swept the level 7 martial artist into the forest. Strangle. Almost at the same time as he controlled the level 7 martial artist, Lin Yuan activated his skill without hesitation. Crack. With a crisp sound, the level 7 martial artist's face was filled with fear and unwillingness. Under Lin Yuan's immense strength, he was ground into a pile of minced meat. Ding. Congratulations to host for killing a level 7 wild monster. You have gained 1 attribute point. The system notification sounded again. Lin Yuan did not let go of the dead level 7 martial artist. Instead, he dragged the corpse and continued to wander in the forest. His snake tongue flicked out, monitoring the level 9 martial artist who was moving at the speed of a tortoise. Gulp. The level 9 martial artist swallowed a mouthful of saliva. His legs were trembling. The level 7 martial artist who was dragged away by Lin Yuan was the disciple he was most proud of. He was also a genius among the younger generation of the Lu clan in Mountain Blocking City, second only to Lu Hu. In the future, he would be the pillar of the Lu clan. It was said that the old ancestor of the Lu clan even wanted to marry a direct descendant of the Lu clan to him. Such an existence with a limitless future had died in front of him just like that. As his master, his first reaction was not heartache, but uncontrollable fear. If he did not have a rare treasure to protect him, he might not have ended up any better than his disciple. Stop dreaming, demonic snake. You can't kill me. The level 9 martial artist forced himself to be calm and shouted loudly. With his reserves of true chi, it was impossible for him to walk back to River Blocking City from the demonic beast forest while in the state of activating his rare treasure. He might not even be able to walk out of the demonic snake's territory. Now his only way out was to get as close to Mountain Blocking City as possible. If he could meet a team of powerful demon slayers on the way, he might have a chance to survive. After carefully walking for more than 500 meters, the black snake that had disappeared into the forest still did not move. The rank 9 warrior even began to suspect that the black snake felt that it could not take him down, so it had left the place. With the mentality of giving it a try, the level 9 martial artist stopped instilling chi into the metal ring in his hand, and the biting cold wind dissipated in an instant. Whoosh! At this moment, a sharp piercing sound suddenly rang out. The rank 9 warrior almost subconsciously waved the ring in his hand and slapped the thing that was attacking him. When the ring wind blade came into contact with that thing, he realized that it was actually the head of his disciple that was attacking him. That fearful and unwilling eyes were staring straight at him, as if questioning him why he didn't think of a way to save him. However, this heart-palpitating gaze only lasted for a moment before the disciple's head was torn apart by the ring. The blood-stained ring appeared even more demonic, but this was clearly not the end. The moment the disciple's head was smashed apart, a colorless and odorless mist instantly spread out. F***CK. The level 9 martial artist narrowed his eyes and jumped back almost subconsciously. He had been practicing martial arts for more than 30 years, and had killed countless monsters and humans. He was very familiar with the structure of the human body, so he was very clear that the colorless and odorless mist was definitely not something that came from a human's brain. Never in his wildest dreams would he have thought that a 25-meter-long python was actually a F***king venomous snake. This was simply unreasonable, okay? Just based on the size and speed of this black snake, not to mention monsters of the same rank, it could even kill rank 8 monsters. There was no need for it to evolve a poison sac and poisonous fangs to assist in hunting. Demonic beasts were very strange creatures. They were different from humans who condensed their true chi and then let their true chi transform. Their strength was often reflected in their own evolution. For example, the strength of their bodies, or some special abilities. No demonic beast would evolve an organ that they didn't need. This black snake was definitely a special case. The rank 9 warrior's thoughts came to an abrupt end here. This was because in the next moment, a burning sensation suddenly rose in his mind. In the blink of an eye, this feeling turned into a raging fire burning his body and skin. Under this kind of pain, the level 9 martialist subconsciously started to mobilize the true chi in his body to suppress the spread of the poison. The wisdom illumination mountain shaking ape, who was watching the battle in the distance, could not help but let out a sneer. The frigid winds of a 9th rank cultivator were nothing to it. All it had to do was use its demonic power to sweep them aside, and it would be able to easily behead them. No matter how extraordinary a spirit awakening stage black snake was, there was no way it could cultivate the demonic power of a wisdom stage demonic beast. When the black snake said that it wanted to deal with the rank 9 warrior, it thought that the black snake had some tricks up its sleeve. Despicable, despicable. The rank 9 mountain shaking ape gave a low, muffled evaluation. In the eyes of the monster race, who liked to use strength to determine who was superior, the black snake's methods could be considered despicable. Therefore, it had completely lost its good impression of the despicable black snake. Na-chin, this is not despicable, this is smart. The wisdom illumination mountain shaking ape corrected the rank 9 mountain shaking ape, and said with a smile, "When you were rank 7, you could not do anything to that human. This black snake can think of such a method. Not only can it cause effective damage and quickly exhaust the opponent's chi, but it can also make the opponent die in despair. It seems that this new overlord has some dirty dealings with the Liu family, or the human race. Otherwise, it would not torture its opponent like this. The scent of a demon slayer. Nachin did not respond to the wisdom illumination mountain shaking ape's words. Instead, he pointed in the direction of the black snake. Humph! The wisdom illumination mountain shaking ape snorted and said with a dark expression, "It seems that these humans have already forgotten how it felt to be trampled under our feet. There is actually a demon slayer who dares to violate the contract and enter so deep into the Hengduan Mountains. Let's go take a look and see who is so reckless." Although the incident of the Liu family hiring demon slayers to steal the mountain-shaking ape's cubs had been covered up with the deaths of those demon slayers, the furious mountain-shaking ape tribe had almost massacred the mountain-shaking ape tribe. They had forced the city lord of mountain-shaking ape to sign a contract that only allowed the demon slayers to move around the edges of the Hengduan Mountains and not approach the territory of the mountain-shaking apes. Who would have thought that in just a few years, a demon slayer would once again step into the forbidden area? Roar! Nachin let out a roar and casually put Batu aside. Carrying the wisdom illumination mountain-shaking ape, he ran in the direction of the demon slayer's aura. Chapter 49. Ding. A level 8 wild beast has been detected 1,000 meters to the west. Please leave as soon as possible. Ding. A level 9 wild beast has been detected 1,000 meters to the west. Please leave as soon as possible. Ding. An airborne realm wild beast has been detected 1,000 meters to the west. Please leave as soon as possible. Lin Yuan, who was lurking in the woods and slowly moving behind the level 9 warrior, was suddenly baffled by the series of system notifications. He didn't really understand what an airborne realm human meant, but after seeing the system add 3 exclamation marks to the words, "Leave as soon as possible," Lin Yuan felt a chill run through his entire body. The other party was probably a human who was no weaker than an intelligent mountain-shaking ape. Was this level 9 warrior really not destined to die? There was only one possibility for such a terrifying human to appear in such a place: the Demon Slayer Master. Lin Yuan's blue-white snake eyes looked up slightly. While his sense of smell was unable to tell what was going on over there, his sharp vision still allowed him to see a group of humans dressed in uniform approaching him. There were even hidden sentries among them. That was because the system notifications rang 12 times in a row. Yet Lin Yuan only saw 8 people. Despite being 1,000 meters away, Lin Yuan was still able to smell a nauseating stench in the air. That was the smell of dried demonic beast blood. Ordinary humans, even martial artists, would not wear clothes stained with the blood of demonic beasts when entering the Hengduan mountain range. Although it could deter some low-level demonic beasts, it would also attract the hatred of high-level demonic beasts. Moreover, the aura of demonic blood could spread for a distance of 1,000 meters. The clothes on this group of people were as if they had been washed with demonic blood. Aside from the fact that there were 2 airborne realm warriors in the group, the reason why the other party was so arrogant was probably because they did not care about the monsters in the area at all. Only professional demon slayers would have been able to do something like that. The sense of danger was like a mountain, weighing down on Lin Yuan right away. Lin Yuan lowered his body almost instantly. "Help! Help me!" The level 9 warrior who saw the Demon Slayer Master's group acted as if he had just found his savior. He quickly rushed to the group. Target confirmed. Carry out elimination. A man at the very front of the group of demon slayers said expressionlessly as he sized up the 9th grade warrior. At the same time, a valiant-looking woman with a red ponytail raised her right hand and revealed the hand crossbow hidden under her sleeve. Then she pulled the trigger without hesitation. Whoosh. Puff. The sound of arrows piercing through the air, and the sound of sharp weapons piercing through bodies rang out almost at the same time. Before the ecstasy on the level 9 warrior's face dissipated, his chest was penetrated by a silver-white crossbow arrow. With a look of disbelief and resentment, he fell to the ground with a loud bang. Witnessing this scene, Lin Yuan was as silent as a cicada in winter, not daring to move at all. This warrior of the 9th rank had thought that he had met his savior. He hadn't expected that the ones who would take his life would be these demon slayers. Removal complete. The woman put down her crossbow and reloaded it with another arrow. Then she responded emotionlessly. Her posture was extremely calm, as if the one she had just shot wasn't a living human, but a wooden target for practice. Spread out and search for the black snake. The demon slayer at the very front of the group raised his right hand and opened his clenched fist. The demon slayers behind him immediately assumed a jumping posture. Boom! A loud noise was heard. The group of monster slayers stopped right away and covered their weapons with their palms. Their vigilant gazes fell on the level 9 ape of the mountain as it leaped towards them. Of course, the airborne realm human at the front of the group cast his gaze on the ape of the mountain on Nachin's shoulder, which was at Wisdom Realm. Mendu. The demon slayer at the very front called out the name of the Wisdom Realm ape of the mountains. A look of fear flashed in his eyes. Before reaching the Heaven's Strength Realm, the physique of humans was far inferior to that of monsters. As such, very few humans were able to defeat monsters of the same level as themselves without using any divine weapons. In order to take care of the exiled Batu, both Nachin and Mendu had been active in the border area between the Monster Forest and the Hungduan Mountains for the past few years. They were all monsters registered in the Demon Slayers organization. Of course, this registration wasn't to encourage the Demon Slayers to go hunting. It was to inform the new Demon Slayers of which monsters were near the Monster Forest that they couldn't afford to provoke. You recognize me? Looks like you're not a Demon Slayer from outside. Mendu was slightly stunned when he heard the other party call out his name. Then he smiled in relief, but his tone became even colder. So you humans are indeed planning to break the treaty and hunt in the Hungduan Mountains again? The area Lin Yuan was in was called the Monster Forest. It was said to be the periphery of the Hungduan Mountains, but it wasn't. The area where Bata's clan lived was the real periphery of the Hungduan Mountains. The Monster Forest was just a forest that grew around the Hungduan Mountains. Some low-level monsters that had no hope of reaching the Wisdom Realm were driven to live in the Monster Forest. It was the first line of defense around the Hungduan Mountains, and also the main target of the Demon Slayers. As such, Lin Yuan and Batu, who were level 7 monsters, had the right to be kings of the Monster Forest. In the eyes of the monsters in the Hungduan Mountains, the monsters that lived there were just a bunch of cannon fodder and trash. Only Lin Yuan, who had obtained the system and had unlimited potential, and Batu, who had a powerful clan behind him, were exceptions. Yes, Master Mendu. My codename is Iron Hand, and I'm one of the top demon slayers in Mountain Blocking City. I didn't come here to fight against the mountain-shaking apes. I was only asked to come here to capture a black snake. We definitely won't enter the Hungduan Mountains, so please do us a favor, Master Mendu. The leader of the Demon Slayers bowed to Mendu and said in a sincere tone. There were 2 airborne realm experts in the team, but they didn't have much of a chance of winning against Mendu, who was at the Wisdom Realm. Furthermore, even if they could defeat Mendu, so what? Back then, the group of mountain-shaking apes was infuriated and had massacred the entire mountain-blocking city. If they infuriated the mountain-shaking apes and caused the same tragedy to happen again, they would instantly become sinners from the lofty demon slayers. Humans have been fighting with us monsters for so many years. Do you think I'd still believe what you humans say? Furthermore, this is the territory of the mountain-shaking apes, Batu. There's no black snake here. Get lost. Mendu mercilessly asked them to leave. Chapter 50. Taisho and Mendo looked at each other for a long time. Seeing that Mendo had no intention of backing down, Taisho sighed helplessly. Then he turned around and walked in the direction of Mountain Blocking City. They had accepted the Lu clan's employment for nothing more than money. There was no need to offend the mountain-shaking ape clan. In any case, the Lu clan wouldn't dare to force them to do anything. At most, they would just return the deposit. However, Taisho didn't know that the black snake he was looking for already bore a grudge against him. Lin Yuan might not be able to successfully hunt a 9th-grade demonic beast. However, since they were both 9th-grade demonic beasts, it could be said that this human cultivator was already in his bag. After a while, he would be able to provide Lin Yuan with a considerable amount of attribute points. However, That arrow from the Demon Slayer Master had shattered Lin Yuan's dreams. Cutting off one's path to wealth was akin to killing one's parents. Therefore, Lin Yuan would remember this grudge. Lin Yuan wriggled his snake body and moved in the direction of the waterfall. There were no more targets to hunt here. Mendo and that 9th-grade mountain-shaking ape were much stronger than him. Moreover, they didn't show any malice. Instead, they helped him chase away that team of demon slayers. Even if he was a poisonous snake, there was no reason for him to repay kindness with enmity. Nachin, let's go. Mendo looked at Lin Yuan from afar and smiled meaningfully. He suddenly had a strong premonition that this black snake would soon appear on the stage of the Hengduan Mountain Range's myriad beast competition. Perhaps, in the future, this black snake would become an existence that even he had to look up to. Hearing the thunderous footsteps of the 9th-grade mountain-shaking ape behind him, Lin Yuan couldn't help but turn around to take a look. Was this the face of a high-grade demonic beast? From the moment he saved that girl, the Liu clan seemed to have been drooling over him. When the Liu clan thought that he was just a small snake with intelligence, they sent the 8th-grade Liu Hu to capture him. After Liu Hu failed, they even invited a team of professional demon slayers. It was obvious that they had spent a lot of money. Lin Yuan didn't know what he had that attracted the attention of the old ancestor of the Liu clan. However, today's incident had made him walk right in front of the gates of hell. If it weren't for the mountain-shaking ape scaring off the demon slayers, Lin Yuan wouldn't have been able to escape death even if he was hiding underwater. If he also had such strength, how would the Liu family dare to have any ideas about it? Liu clan. A hint of fear flashed through Lin Yuan's eyes. The black figure was like a waterfall, disappearing into the majestic waterfall. 3 days later, mountain-blocking city Liu family. A man with waist-length hair that was half white and half black, a youthful face, and a pair of eyes that exuded a lonely aura stood up. He looked in the direction of the Hengduan mountain range with a gloomy expression. Patriarch Liu, this is what happened. We had just entered the depths of the demonic beast forest, and before we had the time to search for the black snake, the apes Najin and Mendo appeared. You know the strength of those two, let alone our Iron Will Corps. Even the top teams do not dare to rashly offend the ape. Therefore, we are indeed powerless in this matter. Patriarch Liu, please look for someone else. Please find another Patriarch Liu. Iron Hand said in a low voice as he cupped his hands towards the strange man. Mountain-shaking ape? The mountain-shaking ape is nothing. How dare a mere beast ruin my plans? Now that I'm about to master my divine technique, I'm only a step away from entering the Heaven Star realm. At that time, the mountain-shaking apes clan will be nothing more than a bunch of trash in my eyes. Captain Iron Hand, I'll leave this matter to you. If you can bring back the black snake, I'll double the promised reward. Even if the mountain-shaking ape comes for revenge, I'll protect you. Patriarch Liu crossed his arms in front of his chest and said in a gloomy tone. Forgive me for not being able to comply. Iron Hand cupped his hands towards Patriarch Liu and said in a low voice. This matter is beyond the scope of my ability. I've returned the deposit that Patriarch Liu gave me earlier. Goodbye. As soon as he finished speaking, Iron Hand stood up and planned to leave this place. Although Patriarch Liu's tone was very calm, Iron Hand always felt that Patriarch Liu was pointing at his nose and calling him a good-for-nothing. Moreover, Iron Hand always felt that there was a strange and cold aura on Patriarch Liu's body, which made him feel very uncomfortable sitting here. He wanted to leave this place more and more, as if Patriarch Liu wasn't a person sitting in front of him, but some kind of scourge. Quang, quang, quang. A series of loud sounds were heard. The door of this reception room was pulled shut by an invisible force in an instant. Even the sunlight was blocked outside. Was he going to shed all pretense of cordiality after failing to reach an agreement? Iron Arm stiffly turned around and saw that Liu family head had already stood up from his seat. In the dark room, he was incomparably conspicuous, because his body was emitting a layer of incomparably gloomy green light, illuminating his face with a green face and fangs. You're definitely not human. Iron Hand's voice was trembling. No matter how tyrannical a monster was, he didn't put it in his eyes. However, Patriarch Liu's existence was beyond his understanding. Soon after, a shrill scream was heard from the living room. The strange thing was that the servants and retainers outside were all expressionless, as if they hadn't heard the screams at all. If one looked closely, they would discover that these people had numb expressions, and there wasn't a trace of spirit in their eyes, as if they were puppets. After a while, the wooden door of the reception room was opened again. His face was deathly pale, and his body was covered in blood. His body swayed as he walked out of the reception hall. The light in his eyes had already disappeared, and he had become a puppet just like the servants outside. He was still muttering something under his breath. Patriarch Lu, wearing a black robe, also walked out of the reception room. He took a white towel from a servant girl and wiped the blood on his mouth. His eyes were still gloomy, but there was an uncontrollable joy in them. An ordinary black snake had become a level 7 monster beast in such a short period of time. Even Lu Hu, a level 8 warrior, had died in its hands. Moreover, it was now under the protection of the mountain-shaking apes. All of this already showed that the black snake was extraordinary. It was very likely that it was as he had guessed at the beginning. It definitely had the blood of the dragon clan in its body. In the future, it would be able to transform into a real dragon. If he drank the blood of this black snake, it would be of great benefit to his cultivation method. It could even help him cross the big hurdle that had troubled him for decades. Ancestor, this is... The girl who had been saved by Lin Yuan before came over and brushed past Iron Hand, who was covered in blood, with a touch of surprise in her eyes. Chapter 51. This is the leader of the Iron Hand demon subduing group, Iron Hand. He's also an expert that I've spent a lot of money to invite. He's about to enter the demonic beast forest to capture the black snake you mentioned before. Patriarch Lu placed his hands behind his back and said with a smile, "Oh, that's right. Leader Iron Hand just returned from the demonic beast forest and directly came to our Lu clan's residence. That's why he's in such a sorry state." "Oh." The woman nodded in confusion. Suddenly, her eyes lit up and she hurriedly asked, "Old ancestor, since you've invited the demon-subduing master, could it be that there's already news about the black snake?" "There's news, but don't even think about taming it as your spiritual pet," Patriarch Lu said with a cold expression. "The first time I sent Lu Hu and Su Nan to capture it, everyone except Su Nan died at the hands of the black snake. Your uncle Wang Zhang and your cousin's betrothed, Yin Jia, also encountered the black snake in the demonic beast forest. In the end, they all died tragically at the hands of the black snake. With such a ferocious and untamable demonic beast by your side, it'll be a disaster sooner or later. This time, I've invited Leader Iron Hand to eliminate this demonic snake." "How could this be? It clearly saved me last time. Old ancestor, did you make a mistake? The last time I saw it, it was just an ordinary little black snake. It's impossible for it to suddenly become so strong." The woman shook her head with an expression of disbelief. "Silly girl." Patriarch Lu patted the woman's head in a doting manner and said in a deep voice, "Last time, it might have been your misconception. Or maybe the black snake was already full, so it let you go. I suspect that the black snake's origin is extraordinary. It must have cultivated a cultivation technique that harms people's lives to increase its cultivation. Otherwise, how could it have grown so quickly?" The dark clouds piled up together and covered the entire night sky. Not to mention the stars, even the crescent moon in the sky was only a hazy shadow. "This is a pretty good day." Lin Yuan, who had poked his head out of the nest, sighed with emotion. Then he plunged into the waterfall. The 25-meter-long snake's body seemed to blend with the water as it slowly flowed into the lake below. "Boss, you're looking for me?" Batu, who was still injured, carried a strong wild boar with his uninjured left hand as he sat cross-legged beside the calm lake. He was minding his own business as he tore off pieces of meat from the wild boar and stuffed them into his mouth. He chewed with big mouthfuls, completely ignoring the pieces of meat that spilled out from between his teeth and the blood that flowed down from his mouth. Almost none of the demonic beasts were vegetarians. Even a gentle water buffalo would abandon its habit of eating grass, and become a carnivore after becoming a demonic beast. The main reason was that apart from some special spiritual items, most of the plants could not satisfy the demonic beast's needs. If they did not want to starve to death, they could only change their habits. Although he was clear about this point, Lin Yuan still couldn't look straight at Bata's ferocious table manners. Yes, I'm going into the depths of the Hengduan Mountains. Are you coming with me? Lin Yuan's thick snake body broke through the water surface. His blue-white vertical pupils stared straight at Batu. When he heard the depths of the Hengduan Mountains, Bata's eyes flashed a clear light, but this light quickly dimmed again. He replied in a muffled voice, I won't go back. With my strength, even if I go back, I will only bring shame to the mountain-shaking ape clan. Lin Yuan was silent for a moment. The lake water beside him turned into an ice platform, dragging dozens of herbs up. Bata glanced at the herbs on the ice platform beside Lin Yuan, grinned, and said with a smile, Boss, forget it. Although I don't know where you got so many spiritual items, they are of no benefit to my injuries. You should keep them for yourself. After all, injuries are common in that place. You have some spiritual items with you. Maybe they can save your life at a critical moment. You must accept these spiritual items. Although they can't cure your internal injuries, they are good for your external injuries. During the time I'm not here, I'll have to trouble you to look after my lair. You must not let any creatures enter my lair. Maybe the next time I come back, I will be able to find a spiritual item that can cure your internal injuries. Lin Yuan controlled the ice platform to land on the shore, and gave an order without any doubt. Bata's 2 years of loyalty was given by the system, so Lin Yuan could trust Batu unconditionally. Moreover, in the past 4 days, almost all the beasts above level 6 in the vicinity were found by Lin Yuan through the system, and became attribute points on his skills. Those beasts that were lucky enough to survive, although they didn't understand why Lin Yuan took the initiative to attack them like crazy, this didn't affect their instinct to seek benefits and avoid harm. They all moved away from this area. With Lin Yuan's lair as the center, there were no more traces of beasts above level 6 within 3,000 miles. If he wanted to improve further, he could only take the risk to enter the depths of the Hengduan Mountains where Wisdom State beasts roamed, level 9 beasts ran rampant, and level 8 beasts trembled. Don't die. Bata lifted its eyelids and seriously looked at Lin Yuan as it warned. Although it didn't think that Lin Yuan had the ability to cure its internal injuries, in the past half a month, Lin Yuan was the only beast that could communicate with it. Putting everything else aside, Lin Yuan could be considered half a friend. Moreover, he had never asked it to do anything. He didn't seem like a beast king at all. If I don't want to die, nothing can kill me. Lin Yuan seriously replied. Then he changed the topic and slowly said, Later, build a nest for yourself by the lake. The spirit chi of heaven and earth here is much denser than other places. Also, if you want to eat, just eat. Don't make my place bloody. When I come back, I still have to live here. Batu foolishly scratched its head and smiled embarrassedly. It also knew that its table manners weren't very good. After eating for a while, it left a large pool of minced meat and blood on the shore. The pungent smell of blood constantly filled the air. However, this was also one of the methods that demonic beasts used to leave their scent in their territory. After all, such a strong smell of blood was much more useful than simply leaving their own scent. It was extremely effective in intimidating other demonic beasts. Even demon slayer masters didn't dare to step into an area with such a strong smell of blood, for fear of provoking a powerful demonic beast. Only an anomaly like Lin Yuan would do such a good job of cleaning his lair. Not to mention the smell of blood, there wasn't even any strange smell. Moreover, the spirit chi of heaven and earth was so dense that those who didn't know would think that this was a paradise. Chapter 52. Host, Lin Yuan State. Big Black Snake Evolvable, Realm. 7 out of 10 Talent. 1. Identify the enemy's position by smell, cannot be advanced. 2. Form an accurate image of a 500-meter range around the body by smell. 0/103. Water/ice control, 0 out of 100 speed, 11 plus 2 defense, 10 plus 2 attack, 11 plus 2 assignable points, 2 martial arts, golden body secrets 12/25 skills, 1. Strangle, 8 out of 100, 2. Venom enhancement, 0 out of 103. Tail strike, 12 out of 100, item. Light feather random system template X1 glancing at the attribute panel. Lin Yuan left the lake and slowly swam towards the depths of the Hengduan Mountains. Although after leaving this area, he will lose a total of 6 points of all attributes, but today his strength is not the same as before. With a 12-meter golden body here, even if it was Bata's stone rod, Lin Yuan will not be the slightest bit shaken. The 2 attribute points are not used, so that he can break through the realm of level 8 monsters at any time and anywhere. Coupled with the system's upgrade, all his injuries will be healed. Even if he encounters a very difficult opponent, Lin Yuan can guarantee that he can escape unscathed. Although the monster forest belongs to the Hengduan Mountains, the atmosphere between the two is completely different. Lin Yuan, who was slowly swimming, did not feel any change in the scenery around him, but the surrounding atmosphere is still inexplicably oppressive and dignified, as if there are countless pairs of eyes hiding in the shadows watching him. Hiss! Gently spitting out the snake's tongue, Lin Yuan's surroundings within 500 meters were all formed in Lin Yuan's mind. A bird about 2 meters long, covered in bright red, is on the tree above Lin Yuan's head, quietly watching Lin Yuan. 30 meters forward, there is a python whose skin color is almost the same as the trunk of the tree, with only 2 black eyes blinking slightly in the air. Its body is almost motionless. 160 meters to the left, there is a strong and colorful tiger with 3 tails. Ding! 15 meters above, there is a level 8 monster. Ding! 30 meters to the north, a level 8 demon beast has appeared. Ding! 160 meters to the west, a level 9 demonic beast has appeared. Please leave as soon as possible. Although he didn't know the names of these demonic beasts, Lin Yuan's eyes flashed with a meaningful look when he heard the 3 system notifications. Lin Yuan didn't know if he was lucky or unlucky. Just as he entered the Hengduan Mountains, he was targeted by a level 9 monster beast and 2 level 8 monster beasts. According to the system's prompt, it seemed that there were only 3 monster beasts in the vicinity. Gigi, the bright red fluffy bird on top of his head, was the first to speak. Although it could not communicate with its mind, Lin Yuan could still hear the contempt in its voice. It seemed to be mocking him, a mere level 7 monster, for daring to enter the Hengduan Mountains to hunt for food. He was really reckless. Lin Yuan thought for a moment. He subconsciously wanted to retreat and change his route into the Hengduan Mountains. First of all, there were no monster beasts in other places. He could totally blend in. There was no need to fight with these 3 monster beasts who gathered together for some unknown reason. Secondly, after monster beasts entered level 5, they would awaken their innate abilities. For example, Bata's stone armor and his ability to control water. The python's ability should be camouflage. It was somewhat similar to the concealment skill given by the system. It could blend in with the surrounding environment and wouldn't move easily. However, once it moved, it would definitely be a thunderous attack. This kind of innate ability was considered useless among the high-level monster beasts. As long as one could go around it, it would have no way to deal with it. However, the bird and the tiger had not yet revealed their innate abilities, especially the bird. When Lin Yuan fought with the double-headed gray eagle, it almost left a psychological shadow. Without a suitable long-range method, facing this kind of flying monster beast, even Lin Yuan could only hold his head and be beaten. If this bird's innate ability was long-range, Lin Yuan might not be able to hold on until the stage of close combat. Whoosh! Just as Lin Yuan retreated, the bird on top of his head suddenly moved. Its 2-meter body was not worth mentioning in front of a huge monster like Lin Yuan. However, the moment it opened its mouth, it directly spat out a scarlet flame dragon. Fuck! Lin Yuan frowned and cursed. His abdominal muscles squeezed, and he also opened his mouth. He directly squeezed out the lake water stored in his abdomen, and collided with the flame dragon. Zzz ear-piercing sounds continued to ring. Lin Yuan's water column and the flame dragon canceled each other out. They turned into white steam and dissipated. For the time being, there was no clear winner. However, Lin Yuan was very clear that the lake water stored in his body was ultimately limited. The flame that the bird spat out should be some kind of energy from its own body. If this kind of energy was abundant, unless Lin Yuan could move the entire lake to this area, it would be impossible for him to fight a protracted battle. However, the remaining two demonic beasts clearly did not intend to let Lin Yuan fight a protracted battle. The three-tailed multicolored tiger's forelimbs landed on the ground. Its robust muscles exploded with power in the most perfect state. The distance of 160 meters was almost instantly crossed by it, and appeared in front of Lin Yuan in an instant. It raised its thick tiger claws and heavily slapped down on Lin Yuan's snake head. "Damn you!" Lin Yuan closed his mouth and stopped his action of wasting time with the fire-breathing sparrow. He pulled back, but half of his snake head was still hit by the three-tailed multicolored tiger's palm. In an instant, he felt the scene in front of him turn black, and his head become dizzy. This was the first time Lin Yuan experienced the feeling of seeing stars since he came to this world. The three-tailed multicolored tiger and the fire-breathing sparrow were actually cooperating. Shaking his head, Lin Yuan readjusted his fighting posture. His blue-white vertical pupils stared at the three-tailed multicolored tiger's every move. He did not want to be slapped by a LV9 demonic beast again. Fortunately, the fire-breathing sparrow had already stopped spitting flames. It was unknown whether it was because it did not have enough energy in its body, or because it did not want to accidentally hurt the three-tailed multicolored tiger. However, it was still staring at Lin Yuan, as if it was preparing for the next attack. A layer of blood appeared in Lin Yuan's vision. Although he could not see the extent of his injury, it was obvious that the three-tailed multicolored tiger's palm had already smashed his head. Now that the red screen was blocking his vision, it should be the blood flowing out from the wound. However, the feeling of pain did not come for a long time. Lin Yuan even suspected that the three-tailed multicolored tiger's palm had directly stunned his reaction nerves. Rumble. The sky suddenly lit up with a deathly white color. Then came the rumbling of thunder. A heavy downpour came at this moment, washing away this forest that was full of killing intent. Chapter 53. Ding. Detected that the host is in danger, triggering the special mission King of the Jungle. Name: King of the Jungle. Description: you, who have reached the wisdom state, have taken a fearless and ignorant step, and arrived at the stage where the top predators compete with each other. Now you are facing 3 strong opponents. Until the final moment, no one knows the result. Will you kill all your opponents, or be torn to pieces by your opponents? From now on, no one can leave this battlefield. Please fight to your heart's content. Mission reward: 1 chance to shed skin. Failure punishment: death. Looking at the new mission, Lin Yuan's blue-white vertical pupils were filled with killing intent. He didn't want to fight with these 3 monsters, but they didn't seem to want to let him go. Since that's the case, then let's fight. As the rain fell, Lin Yuan felt that he had obviously become stronger. Although the effect of adding 1 to all attributes brought by the rain was not obvious under the 2-digit attributes. At such a moment, even 1 attribute point may determine the outcome of this battle. Golden Body Secrets. Tail Strike. Without hesitation, Lin Yuan turned his snake body and swung his tail, which had been tempered to a dark golden color, at the three-tailed multicolored tiger that had just given him a head-on blow. He wasn't a snake that held a grudge. If he had a grudge, he would take revenge on the spot. Seeing Lin Yuan counterattack with his snake tail, the three-tailed multicolored tiger's eyes showed a touch of human contempt. After all, it was a Class 9 monster. How could a Class 7 black snake compare to its physical strength? Therefore, the three-tailed multicolored tiger had no intention of dodging. It raised its tiger claws again, and slapped at Lin Yuan's snake tail. Bang! The snake tail and the tiger claw collided, and the sound of the rain was suppressed for a moment. Under Lin Yuan's snake body that was supporting his body, black cracks like a spider web suddenly spread out. The three-tailed tiger, however, was unable to withstand Lin Yuan's tail attack, and was sent flying out on the spot. It flew 30 meters away. The tiger claw that collided with the snake tail was already badly mutilated, as if it was crippled. Puff! Lin Yuan opened his snake mouth and spat out a mouthful of blood. His blue and white eyes stared at the three-tailed tiger that was sent flying. He didn't have much of an advantage in terms of strength against strength. It was only the effect of the golden body technique that helped him avoid some of the damage, so he wasn't sent flying on the spot. The tempered dark gold snake body was fine, but the snake body that hadn't been tempered cracked inch by inch, tearing open hideous wounds. Whoosh! The fire-breathing sparrow opened its mouth again, and spat out a fire dragon at Lin Yuan. Lin Yuan smiled contemptuously. His mind moved, and the falling rainwater instantly flowed backward. Layer by layer, the rainwater rotated to protect the icicle in the middle, and directly hit the fire dragon of the fire-breathing sparrow. After all, the fire-breathing sparrow's fire dragon suffered from the weather. The power of the fire dragon was far less than before, and the amount of water that Lin Yuan controlled was far more terrifying than before. Therefore, in this collision, the fire-breathing sparrow couldn't even confront Lin Yuan. The fire dragon was extinguished, and the icicle directly pierced its chest and sent it flying. Come on! Come and mess with me! Lin Yuan roared angrily with his mind. The three-tailed multicolored tiger stood up shakily from the ground. The bloody claw instantly healed, but one of its tails was missing. Seeing this scene, Lin Yuan's expression turned solemn. This three-tailed multicolored tiger's innate talent was amazing. It was actually something similar to the nine-life cat, but it used one of its tails to heal one of its claws. Obviously, it didn't really have 3 lives to fight with Lin Yuan. The three-tailed multicolored tiger stood up, just in time to see the fire-breathing sparrow being sent flying. Without waiting for it to react, Lin Yuan's huge snake body burst out with agility that was completely incompatible with its body size. In an instant, Lin Yuan came to its side and opened his bloody mouth to bite the three-tailed multicolored tiger's throat. Hiss! A cold snake hiss sounded. The python, which hadn't moved before, saw that Lin Yuan had the upper hand at this moment. It didn't dare to have the idea of reaping the benefits of a fisherman's fight. It twisted its huge snake body and coiled up. The two behemoths, both close to 30 meters long, intertwined together. Even as a level 9 demonic beast, the three-tailed multicolored tiger couldn't help but show a frightened expression. It subconsciously wanted to escape from this battlefield, but a black snake tail and a brown snake tail coiled around at the same time, directly pulling the three-tailed multicolored tiger in. Even if the three-tailed multicolored tiger tried its best to resist, leaving 2 deep and long scratch marks on the ground with its 2 front paws, it was still forcibly dragged into the center of the entanglement between the 2 pythons. Roar! A tiger roar filled with despair and unwillingness sounded. The three-tailed multicolored tiger was strangled by the 2 pythons' twisting bodies. Its flesh and bones were directly twisted into minced meat. Even the hardest part of its head, at this moment, had been squeezed until its eyes protruded and its bones cracked. Clearly, it was not far from completely collapsing. Come, let's see who will kill who. Feeling the strength of the brown python strangling him, Lin Yuan's snake mouth continuously spilled blood, and even some broken pieces of his internal organs were also expelled. Whether it was the 3 demonic beasts taking the initiative to attack or the system's mission, Lin Yuan was ruthless. If it was in the past, he wouldn't be so crazy as to entangle and strangle a python that was about the same size as him. Strangle. 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 The system's skills were activated again and again. Lin Yuan's eyes were blurred, and he had even lost his mind. He was only instinctively launching attacks. The black snake scales rolled and cracked, and a large amount of flesh was directly squeezed out. One could even see the dense white bones in Lin Yuan's body. It could be seen that the battle was fierce. Of course, his opponent's condition wasn't much better. It was completely relying on its instincts to continue entangling with Lin Yuan. Under such an intense entanglement, Lin Yuan's proficiency of the strangle skill also rose rapidly. Ding! Congratulations to the host. The proficiency of the strangle skill has been stacked to the max. It has successfully advanced to death entanglement. Suddenly, an electronically synthesized sound from the system woke Lin Yuan up from his completely instinctive state. The brown python was still entangled with him. Clearly, it still had a chance of survival. He didn't know where this thing came from. Even the three-tailed multicolored tiger couldn't withstand the strangle power, but this brown python actually ate it all. Moreover, it was mercilessly returning the favor to Lin Yuan. "You're not bad, but I won." After waking up, Lin Yuan coldly smiled and added the remaining 2 attribute points to defense. Boom! Lin Yuan's aura suddenly rose. In an instant, he went from a 7th-level demonic beast to a 8th-level demonic beast. All the wounds on his body also instantly healed. Chapter 54. Death entanglement was an advanced skill of strangulation, so its power was naturally incomparable. Strangulation was just a technique used by snakes to use their own muscles. While entangling the prey, they would constantly contract their own muscles, using their strength to suffocate the prey and gradually make it lose its ability to resist. Then they would crush the bones of the prey and completely turn it into a pile of rotten meat. However, death entanglement added another technique to the foundation of strangulation. It was somewhat similar to one of the crocodile hunting techniques that Lin Yuan had seen on TV in his previous life, death roll. After entangling the target, it would carry out a small but high-frequency tearing and crushing effect. Just by adding a way to use the muscles, the damage caused would increase exponentially. Hiss. A long snake hiss came out of Lin Yuan's mouth. It was not loud, but it was a long snake hiss. He was venting the emotions in his heart, and at the same time, he was announcing to the Hengduan mountain range that a new top predator had officially entered this stage. Shaking his snake body, Lin Yuan pulled his body away from the pile of rotten meat. His blue and white vertical pupils drifted as he began to search for the fire-breathing sparrow that he had severely injured with the icicles. The prompt for killing the prey did not sound, but the three-tailed tiger and the brown python were already dead. Even if the system determined that the three-tailed tiger was killed by the brown python, then after he killed the brown python, the system should have sounded with a notification and given him an attribute point reward. Lin Yuan thought for a moment and felt that the system should have not given him a reward because the mission was not completed yet. Thinking of this, Lin Yuan's heart also had a touch of fear. If he hadn't been awakened by the prompt of the skill advancement from the state of completely relying on instinct to fight, and if he hadn't reserved the attribute points to advance to the rank 8 monster beast in advance, then it would be hard to say who would win and who would lose between him and the brown python. Even if he was lucky enough to win, the bird that was hit by the icicle was not something he could deal with in his near-death state. After advancing to the 8th level, Lin Yuan's snake body had grown to an extremely frightening extent. The previous 7 levels of growth only added up to 25 meters, but the 8th level allowed his body to grow to 40 meters, almost catching up to the total growth of the previous 7 levels. Moreover, it wasn't just the length of his body that had grown. At this moment, his snake body had also reached the width of a large wooden barrel, which was about 2 meters. The current Lin Yuan was a true colossus. Logically speaking, the benefits of an increase in size were great. At the very least, it could provide more power. However, the drawbacks were also not small. For example, an increase in food intake, an increase in risk of exposure, and so on. He was rather envious of that Wisdom Realm mountain-shaking ape. It was able to control its body to the level of an ordinary ape. He didn't know if it was an innate talent or some kind of high-level demonic beast skill. As he pondered, Lin Yuan wriggled his snake body and swam around the area designated as a battlefield by the system. The snake's tongue flickered continuously, and the scene within a 500-meter radius appeared in Lin Yuan's mind and was constantly being updated. Found it. Lin Yuan's slithering snake body paused for a moment. He lifted his huge snake head and looked at a towering tree in front of him. The bright red fluffy bird no longer had its previous appearance. At this moment, its feathers were completely soaked by the rain and stuck to its body in a mess. There was a scorched scar on its chest. Based on the visual observation, it should be Lin Yuan's icicle that had pierced through its chest. Then, it used flames to burn its wound in order to stop the large amount of blood from flowing out. The treatment of wounds by wild beasts was incomparable to that of humans. After all, in the jungle, even the slightest injury could cause a top predator to lose its life. Chirp chirp. Seeing Lin Yuan's gaze fall on its body, the fire-breathing sparrow immediately cried out in panic. With its small brain capacity, it simply couldn't understand how things had developed to this point. Two level 8 monster beasts working together with a level 9 monster beast were actually killed by a level 7 monster beast. Moreover, the level 7 monster beast had even advanced in the battle. Lin Yuan did not pay attention to the fire-breathing sparrow. His eyes were indifferent as he controlled the falling rain, turning them into sharp icicles that pierced through the fire-breathing sparrow's small body. Natural selection, survival of the fittest. This was the most basic law of the jungle. Whether it was in the past, present, or future, it would not change. Lin Yuan had already made the first move to retreat. However, the greed of these three monsters had activated the system's deathmatch task. During this period of time, this was the first time Lin Yuan had seen the system use its own power to interfere with his advance and retreat in a battle. Was it because the dove snake's bone had almost stolen its power? Or was it because Lin Yuan had chosen to retreat when facing these three monsters? In short, no matter which of these two reasons it was, Lin Yuan could be sure that the system was now very angry. Ding. Congratulations to the host for completing the task, King of the Jungle. The reward is a chance to shed skin. Ding. Congratulations to the host for killing level 8 monster fire sparrow. The reward is 1 attribute point. Ding. Congratulations to the host for killing level 8 monster deadwood python. The reward is 1 attribute point. Ding. Congratulations to the host for killing level 9 monster undying tiger. The reward is 3 attribute points. A series of synthesized electronic sounds rang out. Lin Yuan felt somewhat weak and limp. Although when he advanced, the system's power had healed all the injuries on his body. However, the feeling of walking through the gates of hell was not a good feeling. Lin Yuan's mind was now exhausted to the extreme. Opening his bloody mouth, Lin Yuan swallowed the fire sparrow on the ground into his mouth. Wriggling his oral muscles, he sent it into his digestive system. This could be considered one of the advantages of snakes. Because they only had venomous fangs, snakes would never tear apart a monster's corpse. Basically, they would swallow it whole, minimizing the drawback of the smell of blood. Although the fire sparrow's body was not big, it was after all a level 8 monster. The energy contained within its flesh was simply not comparable to that of a normal monster. Therefore, while continuously digesting the fire sparrow in his stomach, Lin Yuan could clearly feel a warm current flowing through his body. It was a bit similar to the feeling of the golden body secrets tempering the body. However, it was clear that even if Lin Yuan used all this energy to cultivate the golden body secrets, he would not be able to temper a 1-meter-long snake body. On the contrary, he might lose his mind due to hunger and rashly intrude into the territory of a powerful monster. When he was in the monster forest, it did not matter. However, in the Hengduan Mountains, Lin Yuan had no choice but to be cautious. The three monsters in front of him had already given him a vivid lesson. Level 8 and Level 9 demonic beasts were terrifying existences that could dominate the entire demonic beasts forest. However, in the Hengduan Mountains, they were only weaklings at the bottom of the food chain. They could only gather together to hunt for prey. Chapter 55. The next day, early morning. In the outer region of the Hengduan mountain range in a calm lake, Lin Yuan hid his 40-meter-long snake body under the lake. Yesterday, Lin Yuan didn't encounter any suitable prey. Apart from the first 3 demonic beasts, Lin Yuan didn't encounter any suitable targets. Even the corpses of the deadwood python and undying tiger were not eaten by Lin Yuan. This was because after swallowing the fire sparrow, he heard a faint sound. Although he didn't know what kind of demonic beast was approaching him, Lin Yuan was sure that it wasn't something that he could deal with. 2 Class 8 demonic beasts and 1 Class 9 demonic beast. Although they were only at the bottom of the food chain, when they fought to the death, even Class 10 demonic beasts had no choice but to retreat. After Lin Yuan killed these 3 demonic beasts, he didn't even have time to eat before a new demonic beast appeared in that area. What did this mean? It meant that the other party was definitely not some weak scavenging demonic beast. It probably didn't even put Lin Yuan in its eyes, so it directly swaggered over and prepared to devour Lin Yuan's spoils of war. Since even a clay figurine would have some temper, Lin Yuan very obediently retreated. After he left, the system's voice slowly sounded, telling Lin Yuan that it was a wisdom perception demonic beast. As for the lake that Lin Yuan was hiding in, it was also a temporary shelter that he found with great difficulty. Originally, there was a group of piranhas that occupied this place, but the strongest one was only a Class 7 demonic beast. After confirming that Lin Yuan was a water snake, they very willingly left this area of water. It could be said that it was quite realistic. At this moment, there were 7 bull-shaped demonic beasts that were close to 10 feet long drinking water by the lakeside. There were 4 bull-shaped demonic beasts that had already finished drinking water and were lying on the ground resting. From time to time, they would shake their tails to drive away mosquitoes. A total of 11 Class 9 demonic beasts. Lin Yuan resisted the urge to launch a sneak attack and quietly observed the herd. Yesterday, the level 9 undead tiger had given him 3 attribute points. In Lin Yuan's eyes, these wild bulls were moving attribute point gift bags. However, Lin Yuan still had some self-awareness. He knew very well that 11 level 9 mystical beasts were beyond his ability. Even if he could kill 1 or 2 of them with a sneak attack, he would be trampled into meat paste by the rest of the herd. Hunters were very patient, so Lin Yuan was waiting for a suitable opportunity to strike. The snake flicked its forked tongue out of habit, and another scene appeared in its mind. Lin Yuan suddenly became spirited. He was not the only hunter. In the nearby forest, 6 giant wolves with snow-white fur, each of them 7 feet long, had gathered at an unknown time. These white wolves looked travel-worn. It was obvious that they had been following behind the herd. In their scarlet eyes, there was no trace of greed. They seemed to be waiting for all the wild bulls to finish drinking water and rest before attacking. In the natural world, felines were the natural enemies of snakes because they had reactions that were not inferior to snakes. Although the white wolves were canines, they had agility that was not inferior to most felines. At the same time, they also had intelligence and cooperation that other animals could not reach. Lin Yuan was glad that he did not act rashly. Otherwise, if he disturbed the herd, these white wolves would definitely treat him as a substitute for the herd and devour him. Finally, all the wild bulls finished drinking water and lazily lay on the shore to rest. They seemed to know this body of water very well. They knew that the piranha demonic beasts in the body of water would not pose any threat to them. At this moment, the leader of the white wolves suddenly howled to the sky. It seemed to be a signal to launch an attack. At this moment, the wild bulls could not escape immediately, nor could they immediately get up to meet the enemy. It was indeed the best time to attack. 6 white wolves pounced out of the forest and attacked the 3 wild bulls in groups of 2. Lin Yuan, who witnessed all this, sneered. These white wolves were smart. The wild bulls that they attacked were also the older ones. For this kind of social animal, nothing was more important than the reproduction of the group. If the white wolves attacked a few young bulls or young bulls, the herd of wild bulls would definitely fight to the death. But it was another matter when the white wolves attacked the old bulls. These wild bulls might give up the few old bulls that were entangled by the white wolves and retreat in order to ensure the safety of the young bulls. However, the next scene subverted Lin Yuan's understanding. Because the herd of wild bulls that stood up did not intend to retreat at all. Instead, they launched a charge at the white wolves. What appeared in the eyes of the bulls was not fear, but the excitement of seeing prey. I almost forgot that there are no demonic beasts that are vegetarian. These wild bulls are food in the eyes of the white wolves, and the white wolves are also food in the eyes of the wild bulls. Lin Yuan calmed down for a while before he cleaned up the complicated emotions in his heart. This was the first time he saw a herd of wild bulls hunting a pack of wolves. Just as the two sides were fighting, Lin Yuan, who was hiding in the water, moved. His body covered in black snake scales suddenly broke out of the water, like a huge shadow. Under the horrified gaze of one of the wild bulls, he directly bit its head and dragged it into the lake. His sharp poisonous fangs pierced into the wild bull's neck, and without hesitation he poured the poison into it. In an instant, the wild bull lost most of its ability to resist. Under Lin Yuan's death entanglement, it approached death step by step. Ding! Congratulations to the host for killing the level 9 demonic beast, Barbarian Earth Bull. The reward is 2 attribute points. When the system notification rang out, Lin Yuan had already started to devour the dead wild bull's corpse. It seemed that the Barbarian Earth Bull was far inferior to the undying tiger that was entangled by the 2 pythons yesterday. It only provided Lin Yuan with 2 attribute points. With the appearance of Lin Yuan, the battle between the white wolves and the Barbarian Earth Bulls became a little more complicated. Except for the 2 Barbarian Earth Bulls that were bitten in the vital parts and could no longer stand up, the rest of the Barbarian Earth Bulls had gathered together and were staring covetously at the wolves that were baring their teeth. At the same time, they were also afraid of Lin Yuan, who would emerge from the water again. "I'm still not full." Lin Yuan couldn't help but sigh as he swallowed the Barbarian Earth Bull completely. After his body grew bigger, the requirement for energy had also increased by a lot. Even after eating the Barbarian Earth Bull, he didn't feel full at all. He was only 1/3 full, which was only slightly better than the fire sparrow he had eaten yesterday. Ripples appeared on the surface of the water once again. Both the white wolves and the Barbarian Earth Bulls became alert at this moment. This meant that the black snake had already eaten its prey and was preparing for its next hunt. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Sword of Destiny YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.